Welcome back, valued viewer, to a new EDHTakes Tier List episode. I am Elijah Samuelson, and I'm joined, as usual, by my partner in crime,
Spencer Cook, that's me.
And today, we're doing the Izzet Guild, and honestly, I couldn't care less about Izzet, so I needed to bring in some backup on this one. And we're joined by our good friend, Quinn, aka SoullessMidwest. How you doing, Quinn?
Hey guys, I'm doing really well. I'm glad you guys invited me for the Izzet tier list. Definitely one of my favorite commanders have been of this color set. So,
Quinn, how long you been playing Magic? What's your kind of background with Commander?
So I started casually playing Commander back in, let's say, I think 2015. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, I've been playing it off and on. I played a lot more religiously. Lately, I've been kind of more lax just due to not having play areas or play places as much.
Yeah, like COVID and stuff.
Yeah. I got to enjoy playing some on MTGO, but other than that, yeah, is usually my go-to commanders as of now.
Yeah, you've been kind of a off and on member of our play group, and you've mostly played the Niv-Mizzet Perun, and you've recently switched that to Veyran, Voice of Duality, right?
Yeah.
I think you used to play Mizzix too, right, Quinn? This one?
Yeah, I used to play Niv-Mizzet, and then it turned into Melek, or is it just Mizzix?
You played Melek and Mizzix, yeah, before, I think.
Yeah, and then I switched Melek to the Niv-Mizzet,
yeah.
And then recently it's gotten an upgrade with Veyran.
So you've pretty much, would you say you've had one Izzet deck that you've retooled a bunch of times, kind of changing the strategy, changing the commander, stuff like that?
Yeah, I think a lot of the times when I play Izzet, I'm building my I don't know how you want to say tool set around more of a spell slinger variant.
Yeah, that is what Izzet tends to do, I'd say.
Yeah, so a lot of the commanders that we'll talk about that I've previously played have been more of a cantrips and quick instance, and then good to play sorceries and instance later game.
Yeah, so that kind of ties us into Izzet the guild of science and creativity and expression, right, Eli? Something like that. I know you don't care.
Yeah, I mean, you got the blue side, which is the smarts, and the red side, the creativity, and
you put that together and you get Niv-Mizzet, I guess. So just to give our little caveat that I do before all of our episodes, our tier lists are not exact science. So the way that our criteria are not rigid. We try to take into consideration both, what is maybe the average deck as well as maybe the best form of a deck, but we don't just say, oh, this deck has, this is the best EDH deck, therefore it's the number one S tier. We try to take into account more than just that. And also, the S tier for each, or all the tiers, I suppose, for each tier list are independent from each other. So, for example, the S tier Boros commanders may not be the same power level as the S tier Izzet commanders.
Right.
And I think that's about all of all I need to do to get you know everything about what we're doing today.
So it's especially nice that we have a third person joining us today to get an extra
person to argue with, so we can't decide on where the commanders go.
And a different perspective too is really nice.
Yeah.
And also I'm thinking, as you guys are talking about this, also when I'm thinking of where I'm ranking a commander, I'm thinking of how I would play the commander.
Yeah.
So if maybe we missed something that's really interesting or something that we overlooked, feel free to comment how you would play that commander.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Well, should we get into it? Quinn, do you want to do the first one?
Adeliz?
Adeliz. Yeah, the Cinderwind.
The Cinderwind.
Read it for us.
So, Adeliz is a 3-mana 2/2 with flying and haste, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, wizards you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. I don't know about you guys, but I think this kind of sucks.
Well, I can't say I've ever seen one of these in the wild. I think I might have seen a video with one. something to note is that Wizard is probably one of the better tribes that exist, so you do have access to some wizards that aren't just bad cards. But it doesn't seem to do a lot, right?
If you ever had a Wizard Spellslinger deck and you decided the thing you really wanted to do with that was combat,
maybe.
Then maybe, but that feels to me
like you're missing the mark on what you're like if you're playing wizards and stuff, like why are you playing cantrips with that? Like why aren't you playing I'm assuming cantrips, but like, you know, it seems like you want to be playing more wizards or big buff spells or something.
Yeah, it's kind of like Boros Spellslinger. Like you can do it, but it's not the not
main
equipped
focus
to do it really.
So, and I think this card would maybe do better just as in the 99 as an option
in a wizard deck, maybe.
Yeah, in a wizard deck.
Because you'd want to play like a wizard deck, and then like the commander is like a payoff for all of your instants and sorceries. That's more that works more all the time. Like something maybe draws cards instead of like just buffing up a creature. Because you can't always attack; you just die if you maybe don't have blockers. Or something.
And like I think one of the big problems I see with this is you're gonna play your wizards and you're gonna get your value from your instants and sorceries. But if you have no way of refilling your hand, you're just going to fizzle out. And are you going to be able to kill somebody before you actually do something?
Sure, you die to a board wipe or something, and then you just lose, right?
And now you either need like to keep refilling your hand, or you need decent spell recursion.
And if you're playing like the kind of cards that make tokens when you cast an instant or sorcery spell, I think there's one of those that the tokens are wizards. All the other ones are drakes or birds or something else like that. Illusions.
Yeah, the first one that comes to mind is what's the
Docent of Perfection, right? That one.
I was also that makes wizards.
That makes wizards. The other ones don't make wizards. This only buffs your wizards.
I was thinking of the Izzet one that makes the artifact creatures that have power equal to the CMC of the spell.
Yeah.
What's that one called? I forget.
There's quite a few that do that. I don't remember them all.
And if you have like 7 or more of that artifact creature type, it has like a effect.
Or are you thinking of metallurgic summonings?
Yeah, that's just blue, but yeah. But it doesn't make wizards, so it doesn't even the commander doesn't do anything with it.
Yeah, as far as that deck goes, I think that's kind of a maybe C or D tier.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to put Adeliz somewhere down here. Quinn, do you have a opinion? Maybe?
I'm leaning more towards high D.
Sure, we can leave it here for now. Obviously, when we do the rest of them, we might change that around. But
the only thing that I really have going for it really is the fact that it's a cheap 2/2 flying haste creature.
Yeah.
But like you don't want value creatures as your commander. You want to have good effects that like can catapult you into the lead with
warp the deck building or something. Yeah.
Well, I'm a lot more excited about this next guy. Aegar the Freezing Flame is a 3-mana 3/3 giant wizard. Whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess damage, if a giant wizard or spell you control dealt damage to it this turn, draw a card. I've played this in almost every Kaldheim draft that I've done, and it's really nutty. It's really good.
Yeah, no, so I don't think it's too hard. I mean, like, most of your excess damage that you're going to be dealing is going to be from, like, some sort of board wipe spell or, like, a damage-based spell, right? Like, if you play, like, a Blasphemous Act with this in play, every creature that it kills that has less than 12 toughness draws you a card, right? That is... Yeah, whenever a creature, yeah. So, but also just trading in combat with your giants or your wizards, which maybe you don't play them all. You don't need to trade. You just need to have them deal a little bit of damage.
Yeah, if they chump block.
If you chump block, and then like maybe something dies to a board up later the turn, you do draw a card. So it's a lot of cards to draw.
And there is plenty of good like red giants, and then Izzet has a plethora of wizards. So.
Yeah, I mean giant is an archetype where I think you might be hard to try to find a lot that are like really good, but it has enough. You don't need to play this as a giant tribal deck. You can just put the couple good giants that there are, like an Inferno Titan or something, right? And then that'll deal. If you Inferno Titan and then like shoot something for 3 damage, and it's like a 2/2, you'll draw a card off that.
We'll say you're on the average board state, and each player has an average like 3 creatures or something, and you play a Blasphemous Act with this out. You're gonna draw like 10 cards.
It's really good, yeah.
So I want to give Aegar. This is rare for an uncommon, but I'd say like an A tier. I think it's really good.
I'm thinking A or B, but we can...
Yeah, A or B, like high B.
We can leave it here for now, maybe change it. What do you think, Quinn?
Yeah, I think that would be fine, because it is like I feel like it kind of flies under the radar maybe for a while.
I would say, yeah, unless you've been exposed to it. Like it feels like a must-kill commander because I mean, it doesn't like break the game open, but it's just the amount of card advantage you can get off of it is kind of crazy.
Could be a lot of card advantage.
And I guess one that kind of is something that you'll hear a lot for Izzet is in Izzet's toolbox. There's a lot of card advantage.
Yeah,
a lot of card draw.
A lot of it's pretty explosive too. Like you have with red, you get access to like the mana geysers of the world, which you go mana geyser into like some sort of X draw spell, and you all of a sudden have 15 cards. I'm sure you know about that. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll put it. I'll put it in A for now, but I wouldn't be surprised if it went to B. But we'll leave it there for now, I suppose. Now you've got Arjun, the Shifting Flame, which is 6 mana 5/5 flyer. And it flyer. Sorry, I gotta make fun of myself a little bit. He says when you cast a spell, you get to put the cards in your hand at the bottom of your deck and then draw that many cards. So he kind of does a mini wheel for yourself kind of thing every time you cast a spell.
Oh, Winds of Change.
Winds of Change is the card, yes.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
So here's how I feel about Arjun. I think Arjun is pretty much only a combo commander, and I don't think there's even a fun way to build it outside of that. Do you see that, Eli?
It's a combo or like a card draw matters payoff card.
Yeah.
And there's some funny things with it though. Like you usually in that kind of deck you play things that like double your card draw. So when you play a spell, you're drawing twice the amount of cards you had in your hand.
Yeah.
And you can actually like accidentally. I think there was one of the first episodes of Game Nights. Josh almost decked himself playing an Arjun.
Or there's
like, path at like middle of the stack or something.
There's like Library of Lang where you put the cards on top of your deck and that's when you discard. No, is that what I think it is? No, that's discarding.
That would be a discard.
Damn it. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure like this is like a card where you play. There's that. Oh God. What am I trying to think? There's stuff that like taps for the number of cards you draw, and that might be just the blue and green card though, so maybe that's not playable. But I know there's combos involved that I'm not exactly sure what they are. So
well,
it's
you've got
obviously
these
good.
Blue enchantments that are like when you draw a card, somebody mills to like Sphinx's tutelage.
Yeah, and then you just play like a 1 mana cantrip and draw like, and if depending on how big your hand is, like you like draw like 10 or 20 cards at once. It doesn't take that. It takes like 3 spells to kill everyone with that or something, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's bad. What do you think, Quinn?
I mean, it's kind of expensive.
It is 6
the
mana.
when I'm looking at an expensive commander, I'm looking at is the ability worth the payout of the mana that you're going to put into it, and I think Arjun can pay out and can't pay out because you're playing on the luck of the draw as well, but you are drawing a lot of cards, so
you're likely to hit something probably.
So I don't love it and I don't hate it. I think it's good.
I think it's the kind of card where your opponents really shouldn't let you untap with it.
Yeah. It's probably an insta kill or like try and get it off the board as quick as possible.
So I don't like it for that reason, but I think it's good, right? So I don't know, where do you guys want to put it?
How do you guys feel about a B tier? Because it could be really good, but it's also like that where it doesn't on its own, like it kind of requires some kind of engine to be set up before you play it for it to actually like do anything, because otherwise you're just cycling through cards. What do you think, Quinn?
I'm trying to weigh if I think it's on the same level as Aegar. I think I can compromise with the B though.
Sure.
If you agree with that, Spencer.
Yeah, we can go B tier. I mean, I think it's quite good. I just don't particularly like it, so that's my bias.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Our next commander is Brudiclad, Telchor Engineer, and this is a really cool card. At least I think the ability is really cool. Mm-hmm. So it's a 6 mana 4/4, and he's an artifact creature, in fact. And he says creature tokens you control have haste. At the beginning of your combat on your turn, create a 2/1 blue mirror artifact creature token. Then you may choose a token you control. If you do, each other token you control becomes a copy of that token. So basically what's happening is at the beginning of combat, you're making a token, and then you're choosing a token you control, and all of your tokens are becoming that.
Yeah, so you turn everything into your best token, or your most resilient token, or whatever you're looking for.
And usually on the turns before you play Brudiclad, you play some kind of effect that makes a token copy of a creature you control, so you make a token that's something that's not supposed to be a token, really.
Yeah.
And then you make a bunch of those the turn you play them.
Yeah, for example, one of the really good ways to do that is a card called Power Stone Shard, which is a 3-mana artifact that taps for a colorless mana for each artifact you control named Power Stone Shard. So if you can turn like 7 tokens into Power Stone Shards, they all tap for 7 mana. You have 49 colorless mana with all that. So there's things like that where you can...
Yeah, or if you're like, I have a Combat Celebrant, I play a card that makes a token copy of that, and I play one other effect that makes tokens before playing Brudiclad. It's just like...
You don't even need to, because Brudiclad makes a 2/1.
Yeah, he makes you one more, so...
So if you just have a copy of a Combat Celebrant,
yeah,
then you just go to combat, make all your tokens into Combat Celebrant. It makes 1 token. You get 2 Combat Celebrants. You attack with one of them, extort it, and then you get an additional combat. You make a 3rd one, and you can just take infinite combats like that, assuming they can get through and not get. I guess you don't. They don't even need to. If they're blocked, it's fine too, because you just lose that one and make a new one next combat. So that's an infinite combo. There's a lot of ways to do that sort of thing.
And Brudiclad, even if he gets removed before you untap with him, like he does stuff right away. So
if you can go to combat, yeah. So I like Brudiclad a lot. What do you think, Quinn?
I've seen him be very explosive, and I just think all around he's a really cool commander.
Really cool design. You thinking like A tier
or like B tier? What do you think, A or B?
Yeah, I'm thinking like A.
Sure, below or above the giant boy.
I think above.
Sure.
Because with Aegar, I'm just thinking in the sense of Aegar is a lot of card draw.
Yeah.
So you're at the luck of the draw, whereas Brudiclad, you know what you're getting.
Yeah, and as well as like it might seem weird to put Arjun down here because I would say Arjun's better than these guys, but the difference is like Arjun, like you just can't untap with it, right? Like whereas you can untap with a Brudiclad and people aren't like they don't need to always kill it.
Yeah.
You have some way to hide your hand a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because they don't know that you can make a copy of something.
Well, yeah, because like if you say the turn you cast Brudiclad and then you're holding up something really good in your hand. Next turn you untap, you play it, and then if nobody has any way to get rid of Brudiclad, you could play something play
quickly.
Something cool, and then maybe get a blue copy spell off on it.
Yeah, or even a red one. They have a lot of copy spells. Okay, well let's move on. We gotta get through these.
Captain Vargus Wrath is a 2-mana 1/1 orc pirate. Whenever Captain Vargus Wrath attacks, pirates you control get +1/+1 until end of turn for each time you've cast a commander from the command zone this game. Pretty basic. I think this is a lot better in a partner pirate commander deck.
So like in the 99, because this isn't a partner itself, so it can't be...
Yeah, because it scales up with the amount of times you've played commander cards.
Yeah. So in like a Malcolm and Breaches or something.
Yeah, and well, and when I was looking at this before thinking about the tier list today, it also got a big hit with Hull Breacher being banned recently. So
because you don't have it for your pirates deck,
but I'm also thinking of it in the sense of a pirate tribal.
Yeah, no, it's definitely that's all it does, right? It's just a pirate tribal card.
Yeah. Well, like not playing it in the 99, like playing it as the commander and having it be.
Yeah, we have to rate it. We're saying it's better in the 99, so it's not as good as as a commander, I think.
How do you guys feel about D tier?
I like D tier for it. How do you feel, Quinn? I don't think it does much.
I think I'll go with your guys' opinion then.
I think I like Adeliz a little better.
I think so.
I think Adeliz is better.
She has flying and haste.
Yeah, and I'd rather play Wizard. Wizards are much better than pirates.
I was just thinking that
I'm listening.
It's such a cheap commander that you could probably get it off. You could probably cast it 3 times.
And the only thing I don't like about it is that it's not just like an Anthem buff. Like you have to actually attack with it.
Oh, sure.
So it doesn't unless you have haste. It doesn't happen the turn you come out, and it's also vulnerable in combat to dying. So if it was just always your pirates get +1/+1 till end of turn or whatever all the time, probably be much better.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I think with that explanation, I'm gonna have to agree with you.
Sure. All right, Eli, hit us up with Dalakos.
A Dalakos, Crafter of Wonders. He's a 3-mana 2/4 Merfolk Artificer.
Creature type blue boy.
He taps for 2 colorless mana. Spend this mana only to cast artifact spells or activate abilities of artifacts. And he says, equip creatures you control have flying and haste.
This is it equipment deck, right?
Yeah.
That's the idea, because that's what it's trying to tell you.
There should have been a Boros card.
and like from the sounds of it, you're getting so much ramp that you don't necessarily need to care so much about how much mana you're spending, because you're going to be making a ton of mana.
Yeah, so Boros cheats their equipment costs. Izzet just gives you artifact mana. That's the difference, it seems, right?
So it's just going to be like artifact good stuff. Like,
I mean, and you might even just be able to ignore the equipment things. You can just play like regular artifacts, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I'm also thinking like in the sense of you could use this to get in like a worm coil engine really fast.
Yeah, on turn 4, pretty easily without any ramp spells. One thing that I want to note, people say people have been talking about this new. It's a little bit of a tangent. There's a new dragon a signet card that has come out, which it's like a 2-mana signet that only taps for mana for dragon spells and dragon abilities. People have been really high on that spec card, and I think the big problem with that card is that it doesn't let you cast your mana rocks, doesn't let you cast your instants and sorcery spells.
Yep. It lets you cast the one dragon tribal sorcery that
it does. Yeah.
Crux of Fate, is that what it's called?
That one's not tribal, but there are some dragon tribal.
Okay.
There's some shapeshift. There's like crib swap.
Well, there's okay.
There you go. There's one. But what I was saying is, you can only play so many dragons in your deck. That makes that card worse. I think this is better. You can in a deck that plays Dalakos, you'll have way more artifacts in your deck than you would have dragons in a dragon deck. I'm gonna say maybe that's a hot take, but so I think that this and it adds 2 mana instead of 3. So I think it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, and I think in an equipment deck, one of the best keywords for you to have is haste.
Yeah, for sure.
And flying is evasion. So, Spencer, we talked about once how we like to play Lightning Greaves, but it's mostly for the haste.
Less so for the Shroud, mostly for the haste in a lot of my decks. Or the decks that want to attack, at least.
So being able to play good equipments that just don't give haste or flying,
and then have this give that to them.
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
I just to piggyback off of you, I was actually thinking of the same thing too, of like trying to get around your opponent's creatures, like trying to get in with like unblockable stuff, or protection from X color. Mm-hmm. This really helps because flying is probably one of the best. Well, it's not the best, but
one of the best.
It's really easy to get flying on something, and it's really good to get around your opponent's creatures.
If you have flying, you probably can hit someone at the table.
Yeah,
even if it's not the best person you want to hit, you can probably hit someone. So I don't know. I think adding mana is one of the best things you can do in Commander, is cheating mana, and this is 3 mana for 2 mana. I think
How do you guys feel about like B tier?
I kind of like it down below this.
Yeah,
pretty neat.
I like that.
I think it could really ramp you out of control if you played your cards right.
And blue has blue and red are probably some of the best artifact colors in combination. You have like Goblin Welder and all the blue good cards that do stuff with artifacts. So I like that.
So our next commander is forgive me, I'll probably butcher this, but
I think Farideh.
Farideh. I was thinking Farideh or Farideh. Or no, probably not Farideh.
Lord Farquaad.
Lord Farquaad. Farideh, Devil's Chosen. She is a 4 mana 3/3, and she has, whenever you roll 1 or more dice, Farideh, Devil's Chosen, gains flying and menace until end of turn. If any of those results were 10 or higher, draw a card.
Okay, before you talk about this card, can we put this in D for dice tier?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think that sounds right, actually.
We can talk about it a little bit longer, but I don't like it at all.
So, dice rolling, if anyone knows the term parasitic mechanic, it pretty much means that it's a mechanic that's brought into one set, but it's not easily put into other sets of Magic, and dice rolling is that to the extreme. I don't think that's something that will be seen in another Magic set in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. First of all, you have to put dice rolling cards in your deck, which 99 out of 100 of them suck ass. And then you have to it have to be a D20 dice rolling card to even get above like a 10.
Yeah.
And then it's a 50% chance to draw a card. And who cares if you give a creature... It only gives itself. Who cares if you give it menace and flying? What?
What are you going to do, not block my 3/3?
Hit you for 3?
So ideally, like, the repeatable part of that trigger is that maybe you could draw multiple cards in a turn, but like you said, you have 50-50 odds on drawing the card, so if you roll less than 10 multiple times in a turn, it's just, I give it flying and menace, I give it flying and menace. And it doesn't matter.
Double flying! It flies over the birds.
And, like, it just, like... It seems to just do things by itself. It doesn't really want to you need things to roll. I guess you need.
It doesn't roll the dice. Yeah, if it doesn't roll the dice. If it rolled dice itself, like on beginning your upkeep, roll a die, roll a d20. Like now we're talking, right? That does something.
I'm gonna be honest. I read through that and I saw the result was 10 or higher, and I was like, what card am I rolling that's gonna get me a result 10 or higher? And then I realized it was from the D&D set. So
it's okay. Not all uncommon commanders can be Aegar.
Yeah, but this card, no. The problem with Farideh is it literally does nothing.
I would be fine with putting it in F, to be honest.
Maybe
F for Farideh.
F for Farideh, but D for dice. Okay, fine. We'll put an F. I like
Spencer,
that.
you want to talk about a good commander?
Yeah, I love Galazeth. I haven't played it, but Galazeth Prismari is a 4-mana 3/4 Elder Dragon from Strixhaven. And it's a flying, 3/4 with flying, and it says when it enters the battlefield, you make a treasure token. And it says artifacts you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color, spend it only to cast instants and sorcery spells. So it has like that kind of there's like an elf that like gives all your elves tap for mana, or there's like a new human that just came out in the new set that does that.
Kind of like Urza too, that lets you artifacts tap.
Sure, yeah. Except Urza lets you tap like artifact creatures like without summoning sickness. Like if they don't have summoning sickness, this doesn't,
because it's his ability.
Yeah, but it's kind of a mini Urza in a way, which is really good, and it comes with a token. So does Urza, but I don't know. Galazeth just seems really good to me.
Yeah.
The best thing, like I've said already, mana is one of the best things you can be doing, and just going.
It's really nice that like. It enters with it enters
treasure,
as
right?
a 4-mana 3/4 flying. You get a decent flying creature into play for 4 mana. Then on top of that, it makes a treasure token when it enters that you can tap to add mana for the instant sorcery. Like it's instantly doing something as soon as it hits.
You don't even have to get rid of your treasure as well to get the mana off of it if you're casting an instant or sorcery with it, which is kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
And there's always that people have been it's a common thing these days that they keep printing more and more treasure cards and stuff like that, more in red that like rummage and make treasure tokens, or ways to make clue tokens or stuff like that, or things like that. And it's not that hard to assemble a mass of artifact tokens or whatever. So
and if you play like just a bunch of even if you have, it turns like your your shitty artifacts into
if you have like
a decent mana rock,
like you can
like
play
an
like
okay mana rock.
You can play the artifacts that like enter the battlefield and get all of their value when they enter the battlefield, like something that enters the battlefield and draws a card or something, and then it also taps for mana.
Yeah,
so that's a way you could pick the deck.
Like for example, like an artifact that I really like to play in Spellslinger decks, Primal Amulet. You can use that for tapping mana, and you're still gaining the counters on it. Yeah,
all things like that. Also, something like a Senses Defining Top. You can, when you're not like trying to like swap it with the top card of your deck, you can use it to look at the top cards and also tap for a mana. That's something.
Cost reducing artifacts like medallions.
There you go. They don't tap
mana.
They don't tap for mana, so on their own. So yeah, I think Galazeth is like
A or S.
I want to give it an A tier. I want to give it like
above.
I want to give it here.
Yeah,
so I think it's really good.
I just being able to and ramping into like bigger spells, like you could, like how early could you get off like say a
expropriate or something?
Yeah,
you could probably
just win the game.
Probably you could probably, if you like have a pretty decent like curve. Like even like Eli, what's the 2 mana guy that makes a treasure token, or sorry, makes a Thopter if you have your commander?
Oh yeah, the Loyal Apprentice.
Loyal Apprentice. Like if you just go like 2 mana Loyal Apprentice into like 3 mana any artifact into this, go to combat, make a treasure, go to combat, make a Thopter, go to turn. Hold on a sec. Go to turn. Sorry, turn 5. Make another Thopter. Then how much mana do you have in your main phase 2? Let's see. That's 5 mana from lands, 2 Thopters, 1 treasure, and then whatever you played on turn 3. So that's 9 mana for an expropriate on turn 5 with just Loyal Apprentice and an artifact on 3. Seems good to me.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Hope you followed any of that. I talked pretty fast.
Our next commander is Jhoira. I can't say
Jhoira.
Jhoira.
Yeah.
Of the Ghitu?
Yep. Ghitu, yeah.
Okay. She's a 3 mana 2/2, and she has 2 mana. Exile a non-land card from your hand and do put 4 time counters on an exiled card, or on... Okay, sorry.
On the card,
Sorry. Exile an online card from your hand. You put 4 time counters on the exiled card. If it doesn't have suspend, it gains suspend. So basically what you're doing is you're suspending a card from your hand, any card for 4 turns for 2 mana.
Yep. And suspend is at that many, you wait that many turns, then you cast for free, and it has haste if it's a creature.
I've never ran into this, and this seems like I've never ran into this commander before, and I don't necessarily know how people normally play it, but it seems like you just play really expensive stuff like Eldrazi Titans, and
it's kind of a boring deck. You play Eldrazi Titans, big creatures, and then you also suspend like an Obliterate or an Annihilation, like some
mass land destruction or something.
Yeah, destroys all artifacts, creatures, and lands kind of card.
And then you kill everything, and then you have your suspended Eldrazi, and then you win the game.
Yep.
Or you play in the even more cringe way, where you just suspend Griefer cards like Scrambleverse and stuff like that, and then you just then everyone's like, I don't want to play. The thing that I like about Jhoira is that when you suspend an Eldrazi Titan, it makes everyone kill you, so that there's no more, so that there's no longer a Jhoira play in the game, and that's what I like about her because I don't like her.
That's literally what I was gonna say. Is like if you're suspending stuff out in the open to your opponents, they're literally just gonna focus you because they don't want an Emmer or anything to any of the Eldrazi Titans to hit the field.
Yeah, they kind of have to, or hold up counter magic, and you can kind of get around that. Like there are a handful of ways to remove the suspend counters and cheat them out ahead of time.
Yeah,
but still, you might pull it off once or twice, but it's not. It can be strong, but I don't think it's very fun. I don't think it's very good. It's pretty predictable.
I absolutely hate Jhoira, and I want to give her an F for principle, but I don't think that's fair.
I think she pockets into C, maybe.
Yeah,
probably a C, but I want to give her an F
because like she's obviously it's really good to put your expensive things in early, but it just kind of paints a target on you.
Yeah, and if your opponents don't have if they're not playing blue or something, there's not too many ways to interact with, the suspend, the early suspend, and then eventually you just play like an Eldrazi Titan with haste that has indestructible and shit. So, I mean, there's not a lot. I mean, there's some things you can do, but for example, suspending like you said, Eli, an Obliterate. There's not much interacting with that without out of blue. So Obliterate's the card, right?
Predictable.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is a Jhoira that I think is less cringe, but also could be played kind of cringe.
It's just as cringe.
It depends,
but for way different reasons.
Yeah. This is Jhoira, Weatherlight Captain, and she's a 4-mana 3/3, and says whenever you cast a historic spell, draw a card, and those are artifacts, legendaries, and sagas. So Jhoira is often played as like a kind of a eggs deck, and you get to play all of the fast mana cards and draw a card off them all, which is pretty degenerate, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the downside of those cards is that they lose you card advantage.
Yeah, and then when you're all of a sudden, you just get to keep chaining them into each other, getting more mana instead of less as the turn goes on.
So I know there were versions of this effect before Jhoira, but she's kind of the epitome of the win do a thing, draw a card.
Yeah.
And the worst version of that effect is whenever you play an artifact, draw a card, because artifacts are the cheapest cards.
Also for 4 mana on that 2/2 creature that does that. The Dalkin something or whatever or not.
Like all your eggs are going to be 1 or 2 mana draw a card.
Yeah,
on top of the artifact being on the board.
And then you just get all your stuff in play. You play fast mana. You play an Urza. All of a sudden they all tap for more mana. You keep going. You win the game. I think she's very, very good, but also very, very cringe. I think if you played a Jhoira deck that didn't play like that sort of stuff, it'd be fun. Like let's say you played like Legendary Creatures Jhoira or something. That's fair. Not broken.
That'd be bad though.
I mean, it'd be okay. But yeah, not what she's the best at, of course.
Yeah.
She that thing it terrifies me.
Does she have to be S tier? Because she's so
I think
good.
it's got to be S tier.
It's got to be S tier.
I think that thing, but that scares me. Whatever that meme is.
We still hate her though.
Oh, based. We got based card next, guys.
Oh yes, Daddy.
Jewelry N Rune Diver. It's a 3-mana 2/3. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, draw a card. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about it. I kind of hyped it up.
It's really simple.
Yeah, I really hyped it up for no reason, honestly.
I'm
not a big fan personally.
This is in the 99, but you don't want it in your 99.
Extra card. once per one of your turns. Maybe occasionally you can draw an extra card on an opponent's turn.
I think I don't like it is it makes you play cantrips, and I don't like playing cantrips.
Maybe C tier.
I think it's not that good. I think C tier.
Not much to say. But you got anything else to say about Jhoira and Quinn?
I think it deserves to be lower than C tier.
Lower than C tier. F tier.
You want to hear?
D tier.
No, it's definitely worse than. Put it above the pirate.
Sure, I'm not complaining. All right, that was quick. Okay.
You better talk about this one, Spencer.
I talked the last two, but okay, I'll do it. I personally have a Kaza Royal Chaser deck. She is a 2-mana 1/2 with flying and haste, and she says, tap, the next instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn costs X less to cast, where X is the number of wizards you control as this ability resolved. So, on its own, without new wizards, it's just a 2-mana mana dork for instant and sorceries with haste. So that's pretty good on its own, I think, honestly. But as soon as you start playing a couple wizards, it starts being, 2-mana dork, 3-mana dork, 4-mana dork, right? Yeah. Whatever like that. Mm-hmm. And, there's a lot of good instant and sorceries in the video game. The card game, sorry. The video game of Magic the Gathering for the PC system. For the NES. And like I was saying earlier, Wizards is one of the blessed tribes that just gets good cards. Yeah. They're in their tribe. So I really like Kaza. I don't think she's like super duper broken from the sense of like a CEDH standpoint, but I think she's a very good Wizards commander. It's probably one of the better Wizards tribal commanders, I think.
You don't see natural haste on mana producing creatures very often.
Like if you have like 4 wizards in play and then you like play her, she died like a turn earlier, you play her for 4, she automatically taps her 5 mana pretty much. Yeah. So that's awesome.
And you gotta think too, and like you're playing wizards you could be playing wizards as well that are lowering spell costs like Goblin Electromancer.
Yeah, and then they cost even less, so you can play.
And, what's the other one that has the lowering effect, but it also draws a card when you counter a spell? Is it Cabal?
Baral. Yeah,
I was thinking Cabal in my head, but I knew it was wrong.
Yeah, Baral would be pretty good in that deck. You can play all of like there's some wizards that have activated abilities that like draw you cards or like counter spells, so you can just have those sit in the field until you need to use them. So
play good wizards and then cast your big spells for cheap. Also, Spencer, when you're editing this, you should flash a picture of the art on the screen because she's just riding a hoverboard.
It's pretty based. It's a she.
She.
From what I understand. I might be wrong. But I mean, I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about her?
You feel like a B tier.
I'm feeling like a B tier. I'm feeling like solid. I'm feeling like right here.
Yeah, I could see that.
I like it a lot.
Up next we have Keranos, God of Storms. It is a 5-mana 6/5 god. It's indestructible. Has the devotion clause of if your devotion to blue and red is less than 7, it's not a creature. And you reveal the first card you draw on each of your turns. Whenever you reveal a land card this way, draw a card. Whenever you reveal a non-land card this way, Keranos deals 3 damage to target creature or player. So it's either card advantage or lightning bolt.
I think it's very flavorful. I like that. It's literally holding a lightning bolt.
I think it's good.
I think it's pretty good.
I used to watch Star City Games Commander Versus, and somebody had a fan submitted Keranos deck. And are you guys familiar with the card Treasure Hunt?
Yeah, I know that card.
Now, it's not very viable in Commander because it's this 2-mana sorcery, and you reveal until you get a non-land card, and you put all the revealed cards in your hand. So if you have just a bunch of lands in your deck, you just draw a ton of cards, and somebody built a Keranos Treasure Hunt deck based around like that and like Seismic Assault.
That's discard lands and throw and deal damage.
And yeah, you just use Keranos to pretty much draw through the extra lands until you get your
because each time you draw the land, it's like draw a card each time you... Yeah.
I also really like him in the sense, too, though, that you're never getting a dead draw. Like, because if you draw a land, then you get another card.
You have to get 2. If you draw the land on your turn, you really have to get like 2 lands in a row for it to...
So I guess you're not never getting a dead draw, but your chances of getting a dead draw are way lower.
Yeah, you get 2 cards a turn if you're drawing into something that doesn't do anything, like a land.
And then being able to bolt like a pesky creature that your opponent's not going to attack or block with.
Yeah, and also if you have like abilities that like, for example, a creature that says like tap to loot or something, you can hold up that on other people's turns, and if someone's like threatening to do something with a scary creature, you can be like, let's see if I get a non-land card, and then you can bolt it in response. So because you can do it on it's each turn, not just your turn.
Was it each?
So
Did I
on
miss
each...
that?
Oh, it's your turns. I lied!
Okay.
Sorry, my bad. Well, nonetheless, it's still a good card. It also has that Theros God clause of indestructible.
Yeah.
And this is a commander which I think isn't even going to be a creature most of the time, right?
Nope. Because
the kind of deck you'd be playing it in probably is something that has less committed to the board, right, Eli?
Yeah, I would think so.
It'd be more of a control deck, I'd imagine.
Yeah, you get a little bit of defenses, and then you control the board.
So really, how is anyone killing it? Exile and enchantment is probably it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I don't think it's insane,
How do you guys
though.
feel about like B tier or C tier?
I want to put it like here. How do you feel about that, Quinn?
Sure. I think we can put him below.
Below the Merfolk boy?
Yeah, below the artifact.
He's 5 mana. He's kind of slow. He's
yeah,
a little bit of value.
All right, Quinn, read this one for me. Read Kraum.
Kraum, Ludevic's Opus. He is is a 5 mana 4/4 flying haste, and whenever an opponent casts his or her second spell each turn, draw a card, and it has partner.
So something I want to say about this is comparing it to the Merfolk boy down here, Jhoira or whatever. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, happens way more than whenever you cast your second spell each turn.
You think so?
Yeah, because you have 3 opponents.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
So you can draw, up to I guess you're in control of this one, but commander players do be casting 2 spells.
Was Jhoira just spells as well?
I think so, right?
Okay. I didn't know if it was specifically instants and sorcery spells.
Yeah. So this is Mangara, right, Eli?
Yeah, this was Mangara before Mangara, and I think Kraum is regarded as pretty good. I mean, I know there's some CEDH deck that runs Kraum as a partner.
Yeah, one of the partner commanders. Kraum gets the partner buff for being a partner, although we're in this context, we're only considering it with other partners that would make it still an Izzet deck, so not like a Jeskai deck or something. But there's a lot of good, red and red-blue partners that can go with it.
And flying and haste are very good keywords.
It's Stormbreath Dragon stats.
A lot of good stuff, very simple to understand. How do you guys feel about, A tier?
I like A tier for Kraum.
Yeah.
I really love Kraum.
I was really on the fence about it, but what
Spencer
said, it's your 3 opponents, so you have it's 2/3 more the chance of getting a second
potentially
spell.
Drawing 3 cards a turn rotation.
Yeah,
I've played my fair share of Mangara, and that card draws a lot of cards in a turn or 2 rotations, especially in the later game. In the early game, maybe not as much, but as the game goes on, players do be doing more than 1 card a turn for sure.
We got
another partner, right?
Kraum's daddy.
Yeah.
Ludevic, Necro-Alchemist, is a 3 mana 1/4 human wizard. At the beginning of each player's end step, that player may draw a card if a player other than you lost life this turn, and he has partner as well.
It's a little confusing.
So pretty much how this works is if anybody other than the player controlling Ludevic loses life that turn, so you could use a shock land on your turn.
Like, let's say I have Ludevic out, and Eli, you play a shock land.
Then on my end step that I use the shock land, I will draw a card.
Yeah. So,
Wait, what?
Yeah, this is like
I'm confused by the wording then, I guess.
So, on the person's turn, whose turn it is, whoever's turn it is,
yeah,
on that person's end step,
they're not the one who owns the card.
If someone besides the person that had Ludevic lost life, the person whose turn it is draws a card. So let's say I have a Ludevic, Quinn, and you attack Eli for 1 on your turn.
Then I draw a card?
On your end step, you draw a card.
Okay.
If Eli attacks you for 1, he draws a card.
Now, I think that's the idea that they were going for when they made this. They thought, it'll be fun to make people hurt each other, and then, they're drawing cards, so it deflects a little bit of aggro. But really, it's just you do basic thing that you usually do in Commander, like hurt yourself, like I said, use a fetch land, shock land, whatever.
A pain land, and draw a card.
And you draw cards, so it's pretty much just make your opponents draw cards.
Which is not a very good thing to do. I would recommend not giving your opponents free advantage.
To be fair, you can draw some of those cards too, but
one of them a turn.
Yeah, you got 1 per turn, and each of your opponents draws 1 per turn.
And you're running like you said, you're running into the symmetrical problem where is the ability good enough for you to warrant it being symmetrical?
Which your opponents are getting way more.
Yeah, I feel like it's not as good for the player that's playing it.
No, and it doesn't even do anything besides that. Like, it doesn't really push you in any direction, except for maybe group hug. I don't like it at all. I'd rather, if I was playing, in the context of, like, a multicolor deck, like, more than just Izzet, I'd much rather play Kraum as my colors commander for that, but I don't know. I think it's really bad. I want to give it, like, a D tier or an F tier.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I'm on D tier.
Sure.
I think it goes lower than the pirate, but maybe not.
I think down here.
Maybe.
I want to put it above.
Man,
Jhoira.
I'm really on that pirate tribal. I don't know what you're talking about. Like the
Maybe not. I guess if I said it was F tier, I
As
gotta
the
put it at the bottom, right?
commander.
I think Ludevic sucks.
All right, I gotta barge in here because this is one of my boys. Melek Izzet Paragon. He is a 6-mana 2/4, and he plays with the top card of your library revealed, and you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from the top of your library. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell from the top of your library, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy.
Mm-hmm.
So he's really cool, and it's fun to copy cool spells. But the problem is you're really predictable.
Also, how often do you find yourself copying spells with Melek, Quinn?
Not as often as you want to.
Yeah.
Because
Quinn, if I could ask you, so this used to be one of your commanders for
Yeah.
your like main Izzet deck. Have you ever missed Melek since you changed it?
no, I think
Not
I
once?
left him in the 99 for a while, just because I was like, oh, this will be cool if I get it in play with my other cool Izzet commander.
And then you draw the Melek, and then you're probably,
And I'm like, this is expensive. It's not really going to do me anything. I mean, unless there's an instant or sorcery on the top that's, like, decent to cast right now.
But-
like, will I even be able to cast the instant or sorcery on top because Melek's 6 mana?
Yeah, or even after he dies, 8 mana.
And like I said at the beginning, you're playing with the top card of your deck revealed.
They know.
They know what's coming, so you're not holding up anything cool in your hand that you can take your opponents by surprise.
Yeah, you're not just gonna be like passing turn with like
a Cyclonic Rift on top.
Yeah, if you like play Melek on 6 or like on 7 mana or something, and then you pass turn with Cyclonic Rift on top, everyone's like, I wonder what he's gonna play from his deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it's like a fun mechanic, but it's just not worth it.
I want to give it like a C tier. How about that,
Yeah.
Eli?
This might be a little harsh, but I would give Melek an F tier.
No shot.
I think Melek is just
I would compromise with a D, I think.
maybe a D tier.
Higher than Jhoira.
He's just a relic of a distant time.
Yeah, he has old card syndrome.
And I think play with the top card of your library revealed is actually
A hindrance.
can be pretty bad.
Yeah.
Oh, look, he has Insurrection on top of his deck. Well, guys, what are we gonna do?
Yeah, and I might be looking through this through the goggles of I'm just kind of nostalgic for the card, and like just being able to cast like spells off the top of your library is really fun, and like copying them at the same time.
Yeah, Melek is like, so I have a bit of a soft spot for Melek because the first piece of Commander content I ever watched online was the very first Commander Versus from Star City Games, where oh god, what's his name? David McDarby piloted his Melek deck, and I remember that video very fondly to this day. I really like that. Miss you, David. Go cosplay as Jace again or something, or Ralzark. I think he did both. I think he's Ralzark. Whatever, doesn't matter. Eli, read Mizzix.
Mizzix of the Izmagnus is a 4-mana 2/2 Goblin Wizard. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost greater than the number of experience counters you have, you get an experience counter. And your instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each experience counter you have.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you should give us a refresher on what experience counters are.
It's like a...
It's like an emblem.
You can't really there are some things that interact with it, but yeah, it's a counter that goes on you, the player.
You can proliferate them.
It's like an infect counter.
It's like an infect counter, except it doesn't hurt you at all.
Yeah.
Well, except for the fact that other players will see them and be like, okay, I must hurt you now.
So surprisingly, I've never played against a Mizzix deck ever.
I used to have one.
I've only ever heard
Same.
good things about it, so I can't speak to it that much. So I'll let you guys talk
Take
about
over,
that
yeah.
one.
You go, Quinn. What's your experience with Mizzix?
So it's been so long since I played it, but it probably was my first Izzet commander, just because it was the one that came with the precon.
Yeah.
I think it's good, just because lowering costs of spells is just a good overall mechanic in Izzet.
Yeah.
Because if you're even if you're lowering it by 1 or 2, there's that opens up so many more spells you can cast in a turn. If you're doing a spell slinger type of variant.
Yeah.
And one thing I really like about experience counters is that if Mizzix dies, you still keep the experience counters you had. So, say you get it up to 3, Mizzix dies, well, you lose that effect, but you don't lose your experience counter, so you can cast it later and then get back your, -3 to your instance of sorcery spell cost.
Yeah, and one thing with the way that Mizzix works that it's kind of like a staircasing effect because, if you play a 1 mana cost spell, right? Let's say a Preordain or something, right? It gets 1 experience counter. And then in order to get another experience counter, you need to play a 2 mana cost spell, which now costs 1 mana because it's reduced by 1. And then so on and so forth. To get 1 more experience counter, you need to play a 3 mana spell, which now costs 1 mana because it costs 2 less.
Assuming you're playing...
They don't have multiple colored costs.
Multiple colored costs.
The point stands that... when you get to the late game with Mizzix and untap and you have a bunch of cards in your hand, you can be like, okay, I'm going to play this draw 10 with an X spell for 4 mana, and you get experience counters and start getting all your big spells to keep going up and up.
Yeah,
and up.
I was going to ask, did you guys play a lot of X spells to get that experience counter count up?
Even one thing that you can do is I did, yes, because it counts as whatever it is on the stack for the thing. But there's the card, what is it? No, not Epic Experiment. Firemind's Foresight. No, Insight Talent. No, whatever.
Firemind's Foresight. That's the 7 mana instant that gets a 3, 2, and 1.
Yeah. So what that actually does that's kind of like an iconic card for Mizzix, because once you get 5 experience counters that cost 2 mana, and what it ends up doing is it gets you 3 X spells from your deck.
That's cool.
Yeah, sure.
So then you get to cast, a draw 6 for 2 mana, and a deal 10 for 3 mana after that, or you can get a Cyclonic Rift or something. So, and that's not even talking about how Mizzix allows you to do crazy things with buyback effects, because I believe the way that buyback works is the buyback cost is reduced by Mizzix.
Yes, sir.
Overload effects like that. So yeah, for example, if you can
what's the
you can play capsizes for 2 mana. Start bouncing
I
everyone's
think
lands.
Josh on the command zone used to talk about how I had to stop playing my Mizzix deck because I never lost a game with it. I would always take it out. If somebody beat me, I'd take it out and beat the shit out of them with my Mizzix deck and show them who's boss.
But I think Mizzix is really, really good, and I want to give it an A or an S tier.
Sounds like an A tier, yeah.
Yeah,
maybe an S tier.
I think it just might be a little slow.
It does take a minute to get by, but you can go pretty fast.
I think it is a solid A.
I want to give it
top of A so far?
for now.
Yeah.
Looks like it.
Because you do need to play a lot of either expensive spells or X spells.
Yep.
And if Mizzix gets countered or killed before you can start chaining it up, your deck might not be as functional as you want it to be.
And it might be a hindrance early game as well. Say you draw some good cantrips, maybe you want to hold on to those for when Mizzix is in play to build your experience counters.
There's a little bit of a push and pull there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, I'm happy with A tier for now, I suppose. Now we got Eli. You got to talk about this one. This is your favorite card.
This is your favorite Izzet commander.
It's for some reason it's one of the only. I mean, there might be another one in here, but as far as Izzet commanders making me feel anything, I mean, Brudiclad's pretty cool. But I just think Nin the Pain Artist is neat. She's a 2-mana 1/1 Veldalkin wizard. Pay X and an Izzet, tap her. She deals X damage to target creature. That creature's controller draws X cards. Now, I know this isn't very good, but it seems like maybe fun to me.
I mean, it does have something going for it, right? Because it is it's kind of like a Blue Sun Zenith on a body, right? That is kind of good.
That you have to fire a creature though.
Yep. So you kill itself or something, or one of your other things that doesn't matter as much, hopefully.
Yeah.
And removal when you need it against an opponent, I guess.
Yeah, in a very rare situation, you might use her on your opponent's stuff.
You might kill a Bloom Tender or something.
Yeah, it seems worth it, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I might do that.
You don't have to lose the card to play a removal spell. It's on your commanders. That's all right.
Yeah, you always... I mean, I'm a sucker for 2-mana commanders, and you maybe occasionally have to kill, like you said, a Bloom Tender on turn 3, because that's 1 toughness, right?
Yeah.
There might be some mana dorks that you want to kill. I don't know.
I feel like this would 100% fly under the radar because I feel, me personally, I'd sit at the table and somebody would play that and I'd be like, oh, good one.
Yeah, we need to kill my 4/4.
So that's the thing that I feel like. So it's a 2-mana commander. So already it feels bad to kill that because you're down a card if you kill a commander. You're not really up that much tempo if you kill their 2-mana commander. If you're worried about them shooting your stuff and killing your creatures, well, you shouldn't be that worried because you're gonna draw at least one card back to replace the card you lost, if not more than that. And if they're doing it on their own stuff, it's really slow and not that great.
You can give it Death Touch to start machine gunning people's things down and giving them cards.
Yeah, and even that doesn't seem that great, because then it's still just 3 mana, kill a creature, they draw a card, so... I know she's not great. I know she's probably like a C tier at best.
I want to give her a C tier.
Yeah.
When I was thinking about the card too, I was looking at it as if it was just a spell, because it seems kind of like just a spell.
Yeah.
And it's a 4 mana X for deal X damage to your creature, draw that many cards, Or,
yeah, and you can play the 2 mana from it like at the beginning.
And
so
that just seemed kind of expensive, not good.
Our friend of the show, Bradley Mucky, built a couple of decks for Spencer and I out of cards that he had, and he built me a Nostro Voice of the Crags deck, and this is a creature that can tap to deal damage to creatures, and he put Body of Knowledge in that deck, which is when it's dealt damage, you draw that many cards. So that kind of makes me want to play build a casual Nin deck.
Yeah, and you can ping the body and draw 2 cards for each damage you deal.
Yeah.
Wow. It's kind of cool. Also, it's an infinite mana outlet to kill an opponent, because you ping their creature for 150 and
make them draw all their cards.
Only one player though, but All right, now we've got Niv-Mizzet Dracogenius. Which one is this? I have to remember. This is the bad one, right?
Return
the
to
worst
Ravnica.
one.
Yeah. So this is a 6 mana 5/5 flyer, and they all the Niv-Mizzets do kind of similar things. So forgive me. Let me read it again. When it deals damage to a player, you may draw a card, and then it says 2 mana is it mana. Niv-Mizzet deals 1 damage to target creature or player.
This is the one that doesn't infinite combo with Curiosity.
Or does it?
It does not.
No, it's the opposite. Sorry, it needs to do the other part. Whenever you draw a card, it needs to deal damage. So it says whenever it deals damage, you draw a card. So you need to find a way to get this Niv-Mizzet to deal damage to draw your cards.
Yep.
Is there really many ways to do that other than just the 1 a turn from the 2 mana ability or the 1 a turn from attacking? I can't think of much off the top of my head.
It's really just a expensive flyer that feels like it doesn't really pay out.
Yeah. It's so expensive at 6 mana, and all it does is you can pay 2 mana to draw a card and deal 1 damage to a player, or attack and draw a card.
This
feels a lot like Nin the Pain Artist, because it's slow.
Nin's faster.
Nin at least hits the board on turn 2.
I want to give this like a D.
Yeah.
I think it's worse than Nin. You don't think it's that bad, Eli?
Low C, maybe?
Sure. How about
I kind of picture it as more of a in the 99 than a commander, personally.
I don't even know why.
I gotta appreciate him though, because there was when he came out in Return to Ravnica, I was a pretty new Magic player, and there was a hot second when he was kind of money because people were like, "Oh, Niv-Mizzet, it's like the old one. It's maybe good, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, and I pulled one and got to sell it for like $10. So
base.
Thanks, Niv-Mizzet.
And by the way, I just want to note when I'm saying in the 99, I'm not meaning that I would play it in the 99. I'm just meaning that it would be better.
Yeah, like in the 99 of like a precon.
Yeah.
Or maybe like a dragon deck.
I'm just saying it would be better in the 99 than as a commander, because I don't think it does a lot for you as a commander.
I need to be convinced that card does anything. Now this one, on the other hand,
away.
Quinn, go ahead.
Quinn.
This is the boy, the fire mind himself. I don't know.
Yeah, the fire mind himself. Very true.
Niv-Mizzet Perun. He is a 6 mana 5/5. This spell can't be countered. It's flying. Whenever you draw a card, Niv-Mizzet Perun deals 1 damage to any target, and whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery, you may draw a card. So, right off the bat, a big red flag for you should be, there's this effect called Curiosity in Magic. There are 3 that I can think of.
I think 3, yeah.
Tandem Lookout, Ophidian Eyes, and Curiosity. Yeah. What Curiosity does when equipped creature deals damage to an opponent, you draw a card. So you equip Niv-Mizzet with Curiosity, and you make an infinite loop of shooting your opponents and drawing cards.
So as long as you have enough cards in your deck, you can kill your opponents with them. If you don't have enough cards in your deck, you can draw your deck and then kill them some other way with something else in your deck.
Yep, and that's the infinite combo that you want to be looking for in that deck. But also, just sitting on the board, it's really solid because whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you get to draw a card and deal a damage to any target. Or if your opponents cast instant or sorceries, you draw a card and deal damage to a target.
So, Quinn, you played this for a long time. In your experience, if he wasn't removed within a turn rotation, how many cards did you usually draw from that triggered ability?
If he lived for like a go-around...
And then you untapped with him and then like played stuff on your turn, what do you think?
You're probably drawing 5+ cards.
Yeah, like easy, right? Especially if you can play things on your turn too.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Because you get to go like cantrip and draw 2 off it, then go another cantrip or something like that.
Yeah.
Or go ahead.
He does have a lot good going for him, but if you notice, if you're looking at the card, the big glaring problem is that he costs 3 red and 3 blue, and sometimes that can be hard to get in a game.
Mm-hmm.
And like we also said, if it lives a turn, every game that I have ever played Niv-Mizzet Perun, I think maybe like 2 out of 10 games he doesn't die on the rotation that he enters the board.
He needs to die, and he also can't be countered, so that's nice.
Yeah. I think pretty much every time I've played Niv-Mizzet Perun, somebody has shot it. Because it has to die, because if I have a curiosity effect in hand, I just win next turn.
The really nice thing, though, since it can't be countered, unless they kill it with like a Palace Jailer or a Ravenous Chupacabra or something, you're almost always going to draw a card when they go and kill it. If that's the first thing they use.
Yeah.
So you're not really down a card.
It's just literally an amazing value engine.
And a combo piece.
Yeah, and a combo piece.
Additionally, one amazing thing about Niv-Mizzet is that it's probably one of the best decks in the game to play free counter spells in. Because, usually free counter spells, usually the way they work is they require you to discard 1 or 2 cards or exile 1 or 2 cards from your hand to play the free counter spells. Well, Niv-Mizzet's a big mana requirement to play them. You slam them on the table, and then when your opponent goes to kill it, you draw a card, you play your free counter spell, you draw another card. Even if you had to discard a card for that, you're still up 1 card total from that in exchange and protect it. So... it's really backbreaking. If you play a Niv-Mizzet and you have like 2 free counter spells in your hand, like what can your opponents do? Like you're just gonna win.
Yep. And like it's really just a number 1 target on the board. Your opponents have to kill it, otherwise you're gonna take the game away. Mm-hmm. Or you might not necessarily win, but you're gonna be a very big driving factor in that game. So I think personally. It's either high A or low S.
It's an S tier commander.
It's S.
I think so.
I definitely feel it's S tier.
The only reason I have my qualms with it is just because it gets shot all the time. That's what makes it S, I guess, because it's just that good.
Do you think Jhoira is better just because of the fast mana argument, or do you think Niv-Mizzet's better?
I think Jhoira might be a little bit better, but Niv-Mizzet is just. It's so good in every power level, I think.
I think Jhoira does a lot more when it enters the field. Like the turn it lands.
Yeah, I could see that because you could play it for 4 and then go off and make mana off of it because you play the fast mana after. Whereas Niv-Mizzet, you
have to wait. It's going to take you a turn to be able to do anything.
And a lot of your fast mana isn't as good with Niv-Mizzet because most of them don't make colored mana. Like of course you have like Mox Diamonds and stuff like that, but like I think Mox Diamond is like a several $100 card.
Well, should we move on to the OG Niv-Mizzet, the Diet Niv-Mizzet Perun? Niv-Mizzet the Firemind. It's a 6 mana 4/4 flying. Whenever you draw a card, Niv-Mizzet deals 1 damage to any target, and you can tap him to draw a card.
So it's the same text as the Niv-Mizzet we just read, except instead of having the whenever someone casts a spell, instant sorcery, you draw a card, and they can't be countered, it just has the tap, draw a card.
So losing a couple of those abilities, how far down do you guys think that bumps it?
Because it's mostly the same stuff to talk about, right?
Yeah, it's either a high B or a low A.
I think it's still pretty good. I want it to be in B tier.
Yeah.
How do you feel about
Top of B tier?
Above Arjun?
Because you may not be able to get the instant, even as a combo piece, But like, say you have a draw cantrip that starts your combo, or even just like playing a Curiosity at the beginning of your turn and attacking your opponent. It has flying.
Yeah. No.
Or just tapping it to draw a card.
Yeah, and like, it's a payoff if you play like a draw spell. You can start machine gunning things, which is kind of cool, I guess. But it really is the combo that makes it pretty good. Yeah. In the same way that Arjun is also kind of that way. So that's why I want to put it around Arjun.
Still good.
Yeah. All right, now we've got... I'm not sure if you've ever played against this, Quinn, but this is Roil the Everwise, and she is actually surprisingly good, I'll tell you now. I don't know if you've seen her before, but...
I was reading over her before, and she seemed pretty good.
So this is a 3-mana 0/3, and she says she gets +1/+0 for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. And it says whenever you discard one or more cards for the first time each turn, draw that many cards. So I've got a friend who has a Roil the Everwise deck, kind of high power deck, and it is just absurd how many cards that draws and how big it gets by turn 4.
And he doesn't even play wheels in that deck.
No, he's
and it's still so good.
By the way,
that was my first go-to too. Would be wheels.
Imagine what happens if you play a wheel. You draw 14 cards.
Yeah, and it gets
however bigger it gets.
Yeah, however big it gets.
Yeah.
I think the big thing for this card is the drawing, but I think the +1/+0 just kind of sneaks up on you. Like, you don't really see it coming until they build a graveyard.
It's really good. Honestly, it could almost not have that ability, and I think it would still be S tier.
Yeah, I think I agree with you.
Along the lines of that fast mana argument we made with Jhoira, Roil kind of does the same thing, because if you play some sort of like big discard or like let's say a Lion's Eye Diamond, which is adds 3 mana and discards your hand, discard 5 cards. Roil draws you 5 cards. You just made fast mana. If you draw into more fast mana, let's say you draw into more fast mana and a Wheel of Fortune.
That's so much card advantage.
I mean, you only get to draw extra cards for the first time you discard each turn, so you want to make sure that you discard a lot of cards for the first time. But oh man, she's really good.
Solid S.
I think she's an S tier commander. I think below Niv-Mizzet. How you feel about that, Eli? Is that crazy?
I think that's perfect.
Okay. I don't remember this next one. Go, someone read it.
Rutha, Mercurial Artist. Sorry, almost failed that. 3 mana 1/4 and she reads 2 mana return Rutha to your hand and copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy.
How much mana do you usually spend for a thing that copies an instant or sorcery spell you control?
2 mana.
2 mana.
Yeah, and 4 Reverberate.
Yeah, and how much does this cost?
Well, 3 mana
and then 2.
3 mana and then 2, and then you're losing a body on the field.
Yeah,
I
don't like Rutha that much.
It's not good.
You guys think F tier?
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
It's harsh. It's cutthroat, but man, it sucks.
Fuck it, dude.
It is better than F for Farideh or whatever.
Yeah, that's, you remember her name. She's F. Maybe that's a hot. I mean, obviously you can do strong things, right? You can copy good spells, but I don't see why you wouldn't just play any other card as your commander. Honestly, for that same kind of deck.
Yeah, and just play any instant or sorcery card that copies.
Yeah.
There's also like a ton of enchantments that are really good for copying instants and sorceries.
There are a lot of really good ones. Yeah, like the artifact. That is 4 mana and you get the counters, or like there's like a red one that says like your first instant spell copies like 3 times or 2 times or something. There's some good ones. All right, now we have Rowan Kenrith and Will Kenrith. They're partners with each other. So I'll read Rowan. I guess maybe we shouldn't read them. There's a lot to say about them.
Yeah.
But they're 2 planeswalkers that could be your commander, so that's kind of novel. I think they were from Battle Bond. Yep. Pretty much what she does is she just makes it so a creature, it makes it so one player has to attack next turn to all the creatures. It deals 3 damage to each tapped creature target player controls, or the emblem, which doesn't matter, is whenever you activate an ability that isn't a mana ability, you may copy it and choose new targets to copy.
And then we got Will Kenrith, which is a 6 mana blue planeswalker, has a starting 4 loyalty, +2 until your next turn. Up to 2 target creatures each have base power and toughness 0/3 and lose all abilities. -2. Target player draws 2 cards until your next turn. Instant sorceries and planeswalker spells you cast or that player plays costs 2 less to cast. And -8. target player gets an emblem with whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. So I think Will probably a lot better than Rowan. They're both 6 mana.
Yeah.
So that's a collective 12 mana worth of partners.
You don't want your partner commanders to cost the same amount of mana as well. That's a problem.
Yeah, it feels icky.
I actually, before we grade that, I have a question for Spencer, because he's played, I'm not quite familiar with playing as Planeswalkers as your commander.
Yeah.
But I know Spencer's played Duretti Scrap Savant, so what's your opinion of playing a Planeswalker as your commander?
My general experience is it's more vulnerable to removal because your opponents have all of their creatures to attack. But the nice thing about doing it is that they get all the Planeswalkers that are your commanders get to do their thing right away. So, for example, you play your Duretti and then you -2 it and then get a card from your graveyard. For example, you play your Will Kenrith and you -2 it and draw 2 cards. That being said, if that sounds like it's probably all you're going to be doing with these because they're going to die.
Yeah. They're so expensive.
Yeah.
I think the only things that actually matter on these cards are the -2 from Will to draw 2 cards and make your things cost less. Maybe you can combo off with that or something. And then Rowan being able to Anger of the Gods 1 player's tapped creatures, which...
Why'd they make Rowan so bad?
Why'd they make it target player?
Will's kind of okay. He's still... I think he still costs too much, but he's got decent protection ability.
Rowan is not good, though.
He can draw you cards, but do you think... do you guys think C tier?
I would even put it lower.
I would think I'd put it lower. I think it's not good. I think they're real bad. Is that a hot take, Eli?
I could see it.
And some of you might say, we're not even looking at the ultimate, but like the odds of ulting a Planeswalker in a commander game are very low.
Maybe it's just because I'm looking at Rowan, because Will is much better.
Especially a 6 mana Planeswalker.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say there's a board wipe, right? There's a board wipe, and then you go to you play a Blasphemous Act, okay, on your turn, and then you play Will, and then you plus him or something. Maybe there's not a board wipe. Maybe there's just a couple creatures, and then you make them 0/3s. Maybe he lives next turn. I mean, Will's okay.
But if he lives another turn, does it do anything that's good?
Well, he will let you draw 2 cards, then make your spells cost less. So maybe you can storm off.
Sure.
You guys want to talk about a good Izzet Planeswalker commander?
Let's give him a C. Let's give him a C.
We got Saheeli the Gifted.
Much better.
Out of Commander 2018, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
A 4 mana, 4 loyalty Planeswalker. +1, create a 1/1 servo artifact creature token. +1, the next spell you cast this turn costs 1 less to cast for each artifact you control as you cast it, and -7 for each artifact you control. Create a token that's a copy of it. Those tokens gain haste. Exile those tokens at the beginning of the next end step. So mostly, I've seen a few Saheeli decks at the shop in Alexandria. Really strong stuff. You usually just use that +1 cost reducing ability, and you play a bunch of artifacts, which artifact decks are good. So
I really like the fact that it also protects itself when it enters, because if you want to, you have the choice of when it enters, you can make a 1/1 servo, so you can protect the Saheeli.
Yeah, because for example, maybe you just play like Saheeli on, you play Mana Rock on 2, Saheeli on 3, you might not be able to have, something, you probably can't play like a 1 mana artifact that early, so you make a token, a creature token, and the next turn you untap, have 2 artifacts, and you maybe play your 6 or 7 drop artifact, your Mere Battlesphere, right?
Mm-hmm.
So... it does a lot of good things.
Yeah, I think it's good.
And also the -7 is actually kind of reasonable to get to with this commander.
Yeah.
But it's not an emblem that like wins the game. It's like a 1-turn thing, but it is pretty good.
Yeah, because you're gonna have bodies to protect it, because the idea is we're gonna be casting cheap artifacts and making tokens.
You can play an early Wormcoil and that'll block forever.
Yeah.
So she's kind of like Kaza, but instead of having to have wizards, you just have to have artifacts, and you can have a lot of artifacts.
That makes you want to put her above Kaza.
I think so.
What are you thinking?
I was thinking somewhere in B.
Yeah, I think
high
so.
B tier.
Yeah.
Maybe like here. Is that cool?
I think below the
think?
Sphinx. I think below. He's a Sphinx, right?
Yeah, he's a Sphinx. Think you cool with that, Eli?
Sounds good.
All right, now we got Thanos, another artifact. Well, kind of. Yeah, I mean, it is artifact.
Strionic Resonator of the Body.
Kind of, yeah.
Go ahead, though.
No,
Sorry.
you're good. This is another one from that same commander set as Saheeli, but I don't think I've seen a Thanos deck ever.
I've never seen it, yeah.
It's because you can play it in colorless as Strionic Resonator.
Yeah, it's 2 mana for a 1/3 with haste, so 2 mana haste creature. Kind of cool. And he says, 2 mana, Izzet mana, tap Copy target activated or triggered ability you control from an artifact source. You may choose new targets for that copy. So notably, it also says mana abilities can't be targeted, so you can't copy your Basalt Manolith or whatever to make a bunch of mana. But
it's just worse Stranic Resonator, isn't it?
Well, it does cost colored mana and only targets artifact sources, so it is a worse Stranic Resonator, but it is a Stranic Resonator in the command zone, so that's something for it, right?
Sure. I could see that being useful, that you could have one on command, so...
But I'm not really sure, like, what you're trying to get value from. If you're trying to get value, or if you're trying to do, like, an explosive combo thing, what do you think this deck is built like, Eli?
You could copy an Aetherflux Reservoir.
What a sheet. Okay.
There was, once upon a time, you could have copied a Paradox Engine.
Back in the day.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, that would be infinite.
Yeah.
With just a couple mana rocks. I guess you, like, copy, like, Myr Battle Spheres or Burnished Heart triggers. I don't know. You get 2 extra lands. What are you thinking?
Solemn Simulacrum.
Sure, you get an extra land for 2 more mana.
Copy a sort of trigger.
And I'm not a huge fan of Thanos. I feel like he might do something, but I've never seen it, and I really haven't put the thought into it necessary.
It does something, but it's not like. It's not impactful.
Please tell us in the comments.
I'm very open to Thanos being very good, but I don't...
You feel like a C tier, though? Because it doesn't seem like it'd be bad. I just don't know what it...
I don't think it belongs in B.
I want to put right under this other artifact boy. Or they call this mana boy. What? Oh, this is B. Sorry, I was thinking that was C tier.
No, I want to... We should
somewhere
probably
in C tier.
Probably above Nin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I was thinking that was C tier. I had it in. My bad. I wasn't looking.
Oh, you got this one, Quinn.
Oh, I've actually... I don't think I've ever played this one as my commander, but I've played it in the 99. It's the Locust God. 6 mana, 4/4 flying. Whenever you draw a card, create a 1/1 blue and red insect creature token with flying and haste. 4 mana, draw a card, then discard a card. And then when the Locust God dies, return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. Which is the last bit is the God clause from the Amonkhet block.
Yes.
So it's really good.
It's really good.
You wheel and you make 7 flying insect
creatures with
haste.
Yeah.
So
everyone's seen him. Nobody can deny that it is very good.
He's bringing what's the biblical
the rain
swarm of locusts.
Yeah.
I like to think of this as like Birdemic, but with blue and red insects instead of birds.
Yeah, you're really going to be playing this deck as a draw as many cards as I can. So you're going to be playing a lot of wheel effects and draw spells. It's just really solid value because you're going to continually be cycling good cards into your hand and then making a ton of bodies on top of that.
It's kind of infinite blockers as well. So that's another thing it does.
Spencer, we're big Skull Clamp fans around
here.
Oh my god.
And it's so gross.
That's a Skull Clamp's wet dream.
So if you assemble a Skull Clamp and an Ashnod's Altar, that's just...
Yeah, it's infinite.
That's, well, as many cards, that's draw your deck.
Yeah.
And that's 2 artifacts that are just good cards.
You're probably going to play those just because they're good.
It's draw your deck and make, what?
80
insects?
colorless mana, whatever,
Yeah.
something like that. And make a bunch of insects, kill everyone with haste.
This is S tier.
S tier, definitely.
Sure.
Where at, though?
Oh, I never picked him up.
Compared to the other S tiers, I think above...
You think we have Riel?
Yeah, I'm
not sure.
Because it's
pretty close.
It's a very different commander compared to Niv-Mizzet, Perun, and Riel, because you're doing it's a different archetype.
I think Riel might be a little stronger than the
Locust
God, but they're very close.
It's so many flyers, though.
So the difference is with Niv-Mizzet and Locust God is they both threaten to win, but Niv-Mizzet has like built-in protection of drawing you cards and uncounterable. So that I think that means there's like a bigger separation between the two, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
But
the mana cost is easier though. You're right.
Oh shoot! I lost my train of thought. I think it's better than Riel.
I'm gonna tie break a Riel above you. Owned.
Oh, okay.
I could see it, Quinn.
I don't discount it. I'm not sure. I'm gonna go Riel above it though. So get fucked.
Because like, just think if you make like a
I'm listening.
If you make like you have at least like 10 locusts. I don't know how many there are in Izzet, but like any anthem ability as well.
Even like Goblin Bombardment, you attack in with all of them, and you sacrifice them all. That is
Perforos, Impact Tremors, Shared Animosity, tons of stuff.
All right, I'll give Locust. I'll compromise I'll compromise Locust God above Roil, because I think a casual Roil deck probably isn't that great, whereas a casual Locust deck is still insane.
And like if you want to get really crazy, you could start sprinkling in like damage doublers, like red enchantment damage doublers.
I think that's a good point, Spencer, because I think even the Timmiest Timmy could be somewhat dangerous with the Locust God, whereas they wouldn't know what to do with Roil.
Yeah, Roil really does rely on that like kind of upper level near CEDH tools. I think
you have to have real like Sigma male brain.
Yeah. They need to have the $250 Wheel of Fortunes. You know,
kind of want to build a Locust God deck.
Give it a shot. You can be the Izzet boy to Eli's Boros. And we got Tibor and Lumia. I think this is a husband and wife. It's not that matters. It's a 4-mana 3/3. Says it was from a cycle from the original Ravnica that all the colors had a creature that did something when you played a card in one of the colors and a card in one of the other colors. Mm-hmm. So like for example,
Tesa,
yep, all those things. So this is a 4-mana 3/3. It says when you play a blue spell, target creature gets flying until end turn, and when you play a red spell, it deals 1 damage to each creature without flying. So notably, when you play a blue and a red spell, one that's both, you do get both those abilities, and they apply in the order of the cards. So you can give a creature flying before it would get shot.
Yep.
I've never seen someone play this. Have you, Quinn?
No, I haven't. But I was reading it, and I was kind of like the red effect, the red spell effect. Like, seems pretty alright, like, if you're casting cantrips. But then again, you also run into the problem of, if you're running a cantrip deck, is how are you going to be refilling your hand or recursion spells? The problem is you have to play red cantrips, and while there are red cantrips for one, they're generally worse than the blue ones. Yeah. Because blue ones are going to be giving you card advantage. Well, they're going to be at least, like, scrying or something, whereas the red ones usually just, like, target creature can't block, draw a card. Or expedite. Or they gain haste and draw a card, yeah. How would you build this deck, Eli? Would it be like a...
You give them Death Touch, and then you play
Izzet
spells. Yeah. Spells that are both blue and red.
Oh, yeah.
So you give them flying, and then you kill every other creature.
That makes sense to me.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah,
but, that's a little bit of setup, but...
I think it's got that old card syndrome.
Yeah.
But it is cooler than a lot of these cards. I don't know. Do you think down?
How do you guys feel about like a C tier?
How do you feel about I'm fine with right below Will and Kenrith or Will and Rowan?
I think they're better than Will. I think
they're. You think so?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could just go like play two.
I fucking hate planeswalkers.
Well, so I guess maybe a way you can build it, if you're not going that route, is like you can play like a couple of red, because they make artifacts that are red, and they make like for example that mirror card, or not mirror. What's it? The one.
Curse mirror.
What's up? Curse mirror.
Yeah.
The red one, right? Or no?
That is red.
Yeah, you have the red, so it's red. And then you play like an enchantment, and then you can maybe kill the board if you play like 3 spells or something. Have a little pyroclasm that doesn't hit your stuff because it's a 3/3 and you played 2 creatures that aren't they're not creatures. So I don't know. Sure, we can put it above there. How do you feel about compared to these guys? Do you want it here?
Yeah, pretty low, but...
What about you, Quinn? Cool with that?
C is such a messy bucket. I don't really know where you would put it in there.
Yeah. Okay. Next.
Really everything after Thanos looks kind of gross.
Spencer, I'll split this one with you. You read the front half, I'll read the back half, because this is
You get the good half. Okay, so this is Uvilda, Dean of Perfection, one of the modal DFC flip cards from Strixhaven, one of the deans.
Nice.
The front, it's a 3-mana 2/2 on the front half, and it says, tap, you may exile an instant or sorcery card from your hand, and put 3 hone counters on it. It gains at the beginning of your upkeep. If this card is exiled, remove a hone counter from it, and when the last hone counter is removed from this card, if it's exiled, you may cast it. It costs 4 less to cast this way. So, what that reads as...
Shitty suspend.
You still have to cast the spell too, so it just costs less. So what it actually says is, I
don't like it.
Well, no, here, let me read it. Let me read it what it actually says, if you guys are ready. If you want me to, like, that's what the card says, but if we, like, look at the Gatherer text, it actually says, 3 mana, 2/2, tap, exile a card from your hand. That's what it says.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, see ya! Yeah, I really don't think that front half does absolutely anything.
However, the back half, Nasiri, Dean of Expression, is a 5-mana 4/4 free shaman. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until the end of your turn, you may cast spells from among those exiled cards, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, put a +1/+1 counter on Nasiri, Dean of Expression. So it is the card Stolen Strategy from Battle Bond.
Yeah, on a 5-mana 4/4, and it gets bigger when you cast those spells.
And that's...
Solid?
that card's okay.
Yeah.
I've cut it out of decks, but it's...
it does something.
I just have bad luck with it. I mean, sometimes it's really good.
I like this.
You can't play lands off the top of that, which sucks. But I think it's cool. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think it's absurdly powerful, to say the least, but I like that the back half, the red half, does something, unlike the front half.
I wouldn't be... If I played that, I wouldn't be gunning to win. I would be more having fun, because it's an enjoyable ability.
It'd be like
let's pick what card's the best.
So you're saying your deck is like you're gonna play like 40 lands, about 50 mana rocks, and like this commander, and just play stuff from your opponent's deck.
Yeah,
that sounds epic. Man, 50 mana rocks, Jesus Christ! I should try that sometime.
So I'm thinking Nasiri to me feels like a B tier, but the other side is definitely Uvilda's like an F tier.
Yeah. So how about?
Do you think that lands him in a C tier?
I think so. I think maybe here.
Yeah, above Thanos, because the red side's like good.
He's also
it's like not terrible.
One thing that's also pretty cool about this is it's a Djinn on the front half and an Efreet on the back half, and those are pretty unique card types. Go ahead, Quinn.
I was also looking too. The art's fantastic for these cards.
They look nice. Another thing that I want to mention about Uvilda is, I know all of you rules lovers love it whenever they add a new token type or a new token type to the game. So
a new
counter type to the game. So now we get hone counters. Very cool.
It's unfortunate, really.
Yeah, it is.
It really sucks.
All right.
Quinn, why don't you do this one?
You're D&D master, so give it.
This is Midnight Hunt.
Oh, sorry, not D&D. God.
Would you say Vodric or Vadric? Vadric, Astral Archmage. 3 mana 1/2. If it's neither day nor night, it becomes day as Vadric, Astral Archmage enters the battlefield. Instants and sorcery spells you cast cost X less to cast, where X is Vadric's power. When day becomes night or night becomes day, put a +1/+1 counter on Vadric. I read this without realizing it was a D&D card and was so confused.
Sorry, it's not D&D. I lied to you. It's
it's from Innistrad Midnight Hunt, which has not yet officially released.
So we don't know the mechanics of day and night.
We do. It just got. It's not out yet, but the way that it works is, if it's day, if a player casts 2 or more spells on their turn, so if it's my turn and I cast 2 or more spells, it goes to night next turn. And then if it's night, or no,
other way around.
Sorry, that's when it goes from night to day.
Day to night is somebody plays no spells on their turn.
Okay.
And then night to day is somebody played 2 spells on their turn.
Sure.
So, I'm not sure how often that's going to be happening. I mean, I could see you could definitely do it. Like, at least the start is to get it. You have to play 0 spells to get it to flip the first time, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which you can do, for yourself. You can be like, play this on 3, on 4 you pass with an instant up or something. You could.
I know you could.
I feel like you shouldn't rely on that, though, for this guy.
What it is, though, is it's a Baral, right? Because Baral makes your spells cost 1 less.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's a 3-mana Baral that
gets better.
That if you somehow find a way to give it power from something else, maybe
play an equipment or something, or
like
buff it, or maybe an equipment. You put an equipment on it, and then it makes your spells cost less, more or less. Oh God,
because
less. Yeah, you don't understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, because as Wizards has been printing some crazy equipments recently, and you always have access to the swords.
Well, the interesting thing is there's some equipments that specifically equipped to commanders that give a lot of power and toughness versus their equip cost. So, for example, there's like that what is it? Give power and toughness equal to lands you control.
Blackblade Reforged is really good.
You put that on
Commander's
there.
Plate is really good. Gives protection too.
I just had a eureka moment. The sword printed in what was the recent like money set?
Modern Horizons 2?
Yeah, Modern Horizons 2. The sword of home,
Hearth and Home.
This blinks it, so if it's night, you could make it day.
It becomes day. Oh no, if it's neither.
Oh,
owned.
Feels
bad.
RTFC.
Yeah, it's weird.
Damn, I thought I was onto something.
But Quinn, you know what would be cool? If someone else is playing day and night cards, they'll do the work for you.
Yeah.
But no, I do like that idea of, like you were saying, Eli, of putting like a sword that gives a lot of power, and then all of a sudden it does that. It kind of imitates Nivix.
Yeah, and I don't love pump spells, but if you have him in play and you want to play a big instant or sorcery, a pump spell effectively becomes a ritual.
Yeah, I guess brute strength, which is one red for +3/+3, turns into dark ritual. If you only play one spell after that. So if you play more spells, it turns into like dark ritual ×2. So that's kind of cool. I think he's actually pretty good.
I think he's like a high C.
I want to give him higher.
Maybe like a B tier.
Yeah, or maybe even I was gonna say high C or B.
I want to give him like
lower B tier.
Like here.
Yeah, he seems okay.
I think that's pretty good. Because like I don't know, if you like, let's say you play that brute strength, all of a sudden you can play your X draw spell for you can draw like 4 cards. That kind of makes up for the fact that you played a brute strength.
And also the day night mechanic. You have 3 other players in the game. That might be flip flopping more than you think it will.
Someone might pass the turn. Hold up
Play
their
a land,
mana.
pass the turn.
It happens sometimes.
Quinn, I'm gonna make you do this one too.
Okay, so this card is the final iteration. Well, currently the final iteration of my Izzet deck. I'm still tweaking some things, but Veyron, Voice of Duality. She's a 3-mana 2/2, and she has Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, Veyron, Voice of Duality gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And then if you cast,
If casting,
that's worded dumb. If casting or copying an instant or sorcery spell causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. This card is insane.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It enters the board at turn 3, or maybe even turn 2. Sometimes if you play maybe not turn 2.
You could with like a Soul Ring.
Oh yeah, Soul Ring. Yeah. And it kind of flies under the radar because I've played against a lot of people who don't really think it's that great until you start snowballing. So say you have things like what's the
like Goblin Electromancer? Are you thinking of like Firebrand Archer?
You have all the effects like Firebrand Archer. Where when you cast
not Electromancer, sorry,
Electrostatic Field.
Electrostatic Field,
Gutter Snipe, that's what it is.
Those effects, every time you cast instant sorcery, those are getting doubled. So Gutter Snipe effectively turns into a 4 damage to each opponent every time you cast an instant or sorcery.
4's a lot.
And on top of that, also, I like to use it on cards like what's the one I like that's the red enchantment that gets verse counters.
Verse counters card from Modern Horizons 1.
It gives all your opponents
Aria of Flame.
Aria of Flame is really fun because that can get out of control super fast. Like you're a few instants and sorceries later, you're dealing like 7 to 10 damage per instance and sorcery.
And on top of all of that, she doubles her own Magecraft ability.
Mm-hmm.
So she just gets really big.
We have 2 friends, Eli, Quinn and another buddy of ours, that have played very different Veyron decks, which is very interesting. My buddy Thomas plays Veyron as a not Voltron, but like a combo one-shot you commander with Veyron, whereas Quinn plays it as a ping you down with instant sorceries Veyron.
Yeah, like a cantrips and like good instants and sorceries, and then pingers, and then just things that really piggyback well off of casting multiple spells.
Another thing that's very good with Veyron that you play in your deck, Quinn, is like you mentioned with Niv-Mizzet, all of those curiosity effects. If you put curiosity effects on a card like Firebrand Archer or Gutter Snipe, you start to draw cards For each, it says whenever the Firebrand Archer pops off, it deals 1 to each opponent. You draw a card for each opponent that was dealt that way. If it happens twice,
and then you're doubling it for the 2 times that it happens, you're drawing 4 cards per pinger that has a curiosity effect on it.
Yeah, even more maybe, like, right? Because
it'd be 4 cards. Because you have the Firebrand Archer, you cast the spell, you double the triggers, right? So you're dealing 2 separate, like Firebrand Archer, you're dealing 2 separate 1 damage pings.
Yeah.
And then those are getting, then those are both getting curiosity.
So 4 for
but
each
curiosity
player, right?
Curiosity effect itself is 4 per each player. Yeah.
Well, I don't know exactly, but you're drawing somewhere between 6 and 12 cards.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to think about it a little more, but that's ridiculous. Additionally, I think Quinn, you've played a couple cards like Stormkiln Artisan. Which that card is so broken.
So
with this.
good. So you can snowball so fast with that card. Because you cast an instant or sorcery, you make 2 treasure tokens.
It's when you cast or copy as well. So,
and then also effects like we'd be fools not to gloss over Aetherflux Reservoir.
Yep,
just getting out of control. It's just like
very passionate about.
You
this
play
card.
it. Yeah, I really love this card. And it's really just playing a bunch of permanents that are really it's really good permanents that really like to have their effects doubled.
Another thing I want to mention just really quickly with Stormkiln Artisan and Veyron is it makes, so when you play a cantrip for 1 mana, right, with Stormkiln Artisan in play, you make 2 treasures off of that. So you get to just keep going, and if you keep hitting cantrips, you get to, and let's say you're dealing 4 damage each opponent each time, you're going to kill everyone in that same turn.
I really need to get a Stormkiln Artist for my Feather deck.
Yeah. Another thing that works with Veyron is Storm spells. So, for example, if let's say you have a Stormkiln Artisan in play, right? And let's say you play a Gut Shot, or a Grape Shot, sorry, which is deal 1 damage with Storm, and with Storm of 6, you get 2 treasures for each Storm copy that you cast. You get 12 treasures off of Storm, or 17, or sorry, not 12, 14 off of Stormkiln Artisan, as well as a bunch of +1/+1 for your commander.
Yep,
it's ridiculous.
It's a Spellslinger deck on steroids. And as also as Eli said earlier, the Magecraft ability really makes I've had turns where I cast 10 instants and sorceries, and then I'm like, oh, also I have now Veyron's a 22/22
one-shot someone.
It one-shot somebody with commander damage
if they're not already dead.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Eli?
I'm looking at the list, and I feel like she's more powerful than all of the A tier commanders. I'm feeling like top of A tier.
You think that versus S tier?
I think personally bottom of S, but Spencer, I'll let you be the tiebreaker.
I want to give her S, honestly. I think she's really, really, really good.
She is good.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised either way, though. We're very S-bloated in Izzet.
I'm sorry I kind of exploded on that card, but it's
awesome.
It's really fun to play, and the deck's really cool. But you have to really be paying attention because the triggers kind of get out of hand real fast.
Now cool your jets there, Quinn, because now we have Yusri, Fortune's Flame, a card that I will not be happy to talk about because it's cringe as hell. It's a 3-mana 2/3 with flying, and it says, whenever it attacks, choose a number between 1 and 5. Flip that many coins. For each flip you win, draw a card. For each flip you lose, Yusri does 2 damage to you. If you won 5 flips this way, you may cast spells from your hand this turn without paying their mana costs. So if you win 5 flips, you get Omniscience for the turn.
Yeah, obviously this is S tier because that's a guaranteed turn 4 Omniscience.
Yeah. What are the odds? 2%? I think, something like that.
Yeah, really low.
But so I mean, the way that you play this card probably is you attack with it, you choose 5 because you want to draw as many cards as possible.
Yep.
And then on average, you draw 2.5 cards.
You choose 5. She deals 10 damage.
Yeah. On average, you deal 2.5 cards and take 5 damage, which is fine, but I just think that 2% thing just is cringe design, and I hate it. Why?
Yeah, I think she's interesting. She's kind of selfish though.
She is very selfish.
She kind of does her own thing.
Well, look at her. She's burning shit.
I think Yusri might be a fella.
Oh well, look at him. He's burning shit.
Right. He's very selfish.
Yeah, I just don't like him. But I mean, I don't think it's like the worst in the world. Drawing cards is good, but you're killing yourself.
Yeah.
Slowly.
Well, you could look at it as like you could equate it to what's the Necropotence.
Sure. But Necropotence you can draw as much as you want.
Yeah. And it's one it's one, right? Not two.
So average case scenario from turn 4 onwards, you're maybe drawing an extra 2 cards a turn, 3 cards,
and
taking an average of 4 to 6 damage.
Yeah.
I think most people would pay that price
to draw a couple extra cards.
I don't know. I want to give it like
B tier.
I want to give
I was
it
thinking like C.
I don't know.
Low B, high C.
What do you think?
It's better than the suspend Jhoira.
Bottom of B.
Yeah.
I want to put it above Keranos.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Keranos has card advantage too.
Yeah, but this one comes out faster.
Okay. Fair enough.
But I also hate her, or him, whatever.
Okay.
All right. Quinn, or Eli, or whoever was reading this, which version of this do you want to read? The Oracle text or the printed text?
Well, it's there's an interesting thing going on with this card because it's called Zephi Thunder Conductor. It's a 4-mana 1/4 Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, scry 1. But if that spell's mana value is 5 or greater, you create a 4/4 elemental creature token. If that spell's mana value is 10 or greater, Zephi Thunder Collector deals 10 damage to an opponent chosen at random. Well, that's what card's the Thunder Collector?
What deals 10 damage or something? What is that?
No.
They made a straight up typo.
Yeah.
On a Commander Precon face commander.
What must have happened was it had a different name in like some stage of the development, and they changed it.
And that just got. How did he get missed on?
Yeah, that sucks, right?
On, I don't.
The QA
quality,
failed.
Yeah, quality assurance. Yeah.
But that aside, I think it's kind of a cool card. I mean, I like the idea of making 4/4s with my big spells.
How often are you getting the 10 off?
No, not very. You play a Blast Attack's 9.
Once, maybe with an
X spells, right?
Yeah.
Other than that, how are you doing it?
You get to that 10, and then you don't even 10 damage is a lot, but you don't even get to choose the opponent that you want to damage.
Never.
It's random.
Also, I feel like if you're casting a 10 mana spell, like the 10 damage doesn't matter.
Right? Yeah, it's probably good. I mean, I would think mostly it'd just be like X spells, because how many
carry the conversation while I look it up.
How many spells even naturally cost more than 10 mana? I'm trying to think of it. Like Expropriate's 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much just kind of an X spell commander.
I do like scrying one every time you cast like a cantrip or something, or like a low mana spell.
4/4s are good. Like you could play some good 5 mana spells. I don't know.
All right, I got you. Ready? You got Apex of Power, if you know that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have Blink Moth Infusion, which is 14 mana.
Oh, with
untap
affinity.
all artifacts with affinity. You have Decree of Annihilation. Enter the Infinite. Eternal Domination, which is the epic blue spell. Epic. And is that it? One moment. Sway the Stars, which is
banned.
Oh, that's banned. Time Stretch is 10.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Temporal Trespass is the Delve extra turn.
True.
And then you have Volcanic Salvo.
There's a couple good ones.
So there's like 6 or 7 or something on there that I listed. But and then X spells, of course, for that much. But no, definitely, I would think you're not. I mean, I guess you could, but that I would not evaluate it on that sense.
Feels like a big B to me.
Yeah, low
Sure,
B.
I'll give it a B. I want to give it like.
Don't feel too strongly about it.
I want to give it like.
Man, you really hate Keranos.
I think this is kind of good.
Yeah, I guess it is cheaper than Keranos, and it might be more impactful than Keranos.
One thing that's to note is if you like it is Magecraft, which is the copy or cast. So
Yeah.
if you do like
Magecraft's good.
if you play like a 5 mana, there's a 5 mana storm card that like take active treasons, right, Eli? That's a real card, right? I'm not just making this up. I might be making it up.
A 5 mana storm card?
I thought there was an active treason with storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 5 mana, right?
Yeah, out of Modern Horizons 2, I think.
Yeah, so if you play like Ritual into like Cantrip into that Storm card, you are making you take 3 creatures and you make 3 4/4s. It's something.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it makes you want to put it like here. Is that reasonable, or you want to put it below?
I think that'd be good.
Yeah, above
Okay.
Zadric's fine.
Sure.
Our next,
Almost done. Yeah.
Yeah, our next commander is Zara, Renegade Recruiter. She's a 5-mana 4/3. She has flying, and she reads, whenever Zara, Renegade Recruiter attacks, look at defending player's hand. You may put a creature card from it onto the battlefield under your control, tapped and attacking that player, or tapped and attacking that player or a planeswalker they control. Return that creature to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step.
So when you attack, you get to throw one of their creatures into play, attacking them until the end of turn, then it goes back to their hand.
Yeah, this really strikes me as a I play your things better than you kind of deck. Like, you're probably going to play a lot of steely magic.
Yeah.
Start
like thematically, like that's what you think someone would build it like.
I think the ability is cool. It's just I don't know how strong it is.
I kind of dig it. I think it's the kind of card that you really want to give haste, right?
That seems fun. You want to make sure you pick the right person, though.
The thing that
It
you
could
don't.
whiff.
It could whiff. The thing is, you want to, like, Commander players do be playing ETB effects.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you'll oftentimes want to pick the green player, because green players be playing things like Eternal Witness and stuff like that, where at least you can get some value.
Well, they definitely got creatures.
Yeah. Or if you pick, like, you might pick, like, a black player and put in, like, something big, or, like, a red player and to get a dragon attacking. It depends what you're trying to do at that time.
Yeah, and it does have something to point out, too, like, what's the Mardu commander that I play?
You play a Mardu commander? I'm just kidding. What are you thinking?
Or
Kalia?
Oh, yeah,
Kalia.
Kalia. Yeah,
I play
I'm so stupid.
I have a Kalia the Vast deck, so Zara, akin to that, has a flying, so you're pretty much getting that free attack in, especially earlier in the game when they might not have a flying blocker.
Yeah, the difference with Zara, I think, versus Kalia is... Or Kalia. No, this is actually a good thing for Zara, because Kalia is a card that everyone knows is just going to, like, do something broken.
Yeah.
Whereas Zara...
A bit more fair.
And you also... Yeah, you can't see the broken thing coming. And also, let's say you have something really good in your hand, you can just be like, I hope they don't pick me.
You just get shit.
Do you think this is the kind of card where you would play, like, a telepathy effect, where everyone's hands are revealed?
Yeah, probably.
Or maybe if you don't want to be cringe, because those effects are kind of cringe because they make the game harder to play. But maybe like a Jataxian Probe.
Yeah,
Look at one person's hand.
Jataxian Probe, yeah.
Like, hey, you got anything cool in there?
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay. come swinging. I like this card.
Yeah.
I want to give it a B. Is that fair?
Definitely.
Can we go upper B?
I think upper B.
I think like
Above or below ceiling? No, below ceiling.
I think here.
Yeah.
Is this cool, Eli?
Right in the middle? Yeah.
I think so.
All right, Quinn. We should give Quinn the last. Or no, he just did it. You got it. Eli.
I'll do one of the halves.
Okay, you and Eli do the.
Which one do you
Z
want?
for. Wait. Hold on a sec. I need to stop you guys for a second, okay? Because I've got a big pet peeve with this card, and that is that nobody can pronounce his name correctly. They put the vowels in his name. He has no vowels in his name. Don't put the vowels in. Thank you. Go ahead, Quinn. I will judge you.
It's
Yeah. Good luck.
Zindersploot.
Yeah. There. Okay. I'll accept that.
I have wisdom.
I get mad. Everyone says Xander split, and I'm like, "There's no."
I usually say Zindersploot, but then you're adding an I and a U in there.
Right, I'm just being a dick. Sorry.
Yeah. It's partner with a commander that Eli will bring up, and it says at the beginning of combat on your turn, flip a coin until you lose a flip, and whenever a player wins a coin flip, draw a card. It's 5 mana and it's a 1/4.
So this could just be play it and that turn draw your deck
And lose.
So watch out.
Yeah, be careful. No.
Don't be too lucky.
I wonder what the odds are on that.
Very low.
Yeah,
very, very
I
low.
know. I would the 0.00000%
Well,
chance it happens.
It's 2 to the power of cards in your deck.
Yeah. So
So 2 to the 80 to 90 or whatever.
At least 5 cards by the time it hits.
Yeah.
But that being said, you could play Cinder Split and immediately draw like
0.
2 or 3 cards.
Or 0.
It could be 0, but if you even play it and that turn just draw 1 card back,
it's fine.
It's pretty good.
He might have an easier time with his buddy though, because I think he has an ability that helps him with flipping.
Well, they're pretty similar. Okone, Eye of Chaos, Partners with Cinder Split is a 3/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, flip a coin until you lose a flip, so it gets you another coin flip if you have them both. Whenever a player wins a coin flip, double a cone's power and toughness until end of turn, so it could get really, really big.
Now, is a cone 5 mana or 6 mana?
He is 5 mana.
So that's the thing I don't like. I don't like when they make partners with cards that are the same mana, because then it's awkward, right?
You have to pick which one you want.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's only a very slight, thing against them.
So are you saying, like, you would prefer, poking question, you'd prefer if it was like a 4 mana and a 5 mana so you could play them on curve?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, otherwise it's just like super, especially like if you play them out and then they get removed, like it's super awkward to spend your mana that way. And
Yeah, because like imagine you play like one of them and they kill it. I don't know. I'll leave it at that. But
I think we get what you're saying.
yeah, I think when you have them both out, it turns into kind of a decent engine where you can both draw cards and kill people, which is kind of cool. But it does cost a lot to get them both out, right? You're dedicating like your entire game plan to that, pretty much.
Yeah.
I think the people who play this are playing this because they want to meme.
They want to flip coins.
They want to flip coins at the table.
Notably, it says whenever a player wins a coin flip, draw a card. So if you're playing the coin flip table, you will get value from that.
Well, it's just now we got to see the Cinder Split a cone four way. Everybody plays those two commanders.
If I could draw your guys' attention to the art on these cards, you see Cinder Split is in a little like laundry basket on a cone's shoulder.
Yeah.
Quinn, I'd like to construct a similar device for you and me. Like
Sure.
I could put a laundry basket on your shoulder and just
Yeah.
like ride around everywhere.
I'll carry you wherever you desire.
Yeah. Good memes, guys. I appreciate that. But now,
Don't at me.
no. Well, the problem is that coin flip cards generally suck ass. I mean, there are a couple good ones. Like there's the 3 mana card that takes an extra turn if you win a flip, which you can just be like, oh yeah, flip a coin. But there's that one card that like flips 5 coins, right? That one's kind of cool.
Yeah, could this be the reigning champion of C tier?
Yeah, I can.
Because they're okay, but it's like Will and Rowan. It's a lot of mana.
You really gotta commit to it, and you gotta want to do it.
Man, I'm really putting Jhoira down there because I hate it so much. Jhoira's probably better than that, right?
Yeah, but she's just like
Yeah,
really predictable. Like you suspend something really good, and everyone's like, oh, I guess we kill them.
Yeah,
before that goes off.
that is the Jhoira curse of I suspend a card, then I die.
Yeah.
Well, should we evaluate the list as a whole and see if there's anything
We want
to
to change?
move?
Yeah, we can do that. So let's see. S tier for starters. I think I'm happy with all these being an S tier. I know, Eli, you said you might want Veyran to be an A tier. Have you come around on that?
It is good. Those other S tiers, it's
Do you think maybe it's too dependent on other things on your field? Veyran?
yeah, maybe she is very good though. I mean, and she's really fun too. So it's just the other ones are legit scary. Like not that Veyran can't be, but
That's why I called Veyran kind of like she kind of flies. If you
Yeah,
don't,
exactly.
if you
It's,
don't know what she is at her best, then
it's
you're
less threatening.
Yeah.
So want to leave it there for now?
I like it.
Okay. How about A tier? I know we've got. I think I like these two up here at least in this order.
I think. Do we still think Brudiclad is that good?
I don't know. Well, maybe this guy isn't as good as this high, right? Like this is. The giant is very good, but is it this good?
I don't know.
I
if it's
think
that good.
I think I like him better than all the B tiers.
All of them?
I think so. I mean,
Wow.
he's 3 mana. He draws you cards even if just people like chump block him or
Yeah, sure. I mean, play some.
really low mana cost for such a large amount of card advantage.
Yeah, I'm coming down. Do you like Brudiclad this high, Quinn? Do you think it should be worse?
Maybe it's.
How do you guys feel about moving up Niv-Mizzet and these two? How do you feel about like doing this? Like they're still in the same order, but they're in A tier. Do you think they're good in that way? Or do you
Well,
think they're
yeah,
just
the
bad?
other Niv-Mizzet is still like a solid combo piece.
Could be, yeah. That might be the right call.
It's like if Niv-Mizzet, if you have a Curiosity Infected hand, you literally win next turn. If nobody can stop it.
It feels bad to put Shroom in B tier. I feel like it's scarier than that. Or not, wait, Shroom, right? Not Shroom, sorry. What's this called?
Arjun?
Arjun. Sorry, Shroom's another Sphinx. Yeah, I think I like Saheeli being the top of B tier then, and in this case.
I like the look of that.
Yeah. Do you want to change any of these last ones over here on B tier?
I think
You like Keranos.
I think Vadric's better than the other dude.
You need to help
To
me
the
out.
left
Which
of it.
one's
One's a five.
Vadrix?
This one.
This
No.
one.
I think
This
Vadric's better than the one to the left of it. Safari.
This is Zadrix?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know the name. Sorry. Sure, I'll let that slide. C tier? Let's see. Man, all these cards are not great. Anything you want to move, guys?
Niv-Mizzet to the bottom. I'm just kidding.
I'll do it.
He's just not. He doesn't do anything.
I'll do it. He pay 2 mana, draw a card. Right? That's what he does?
Or I could cast a cantrip.
But this is free. Okay, we're leaving him here. And then D tier. Eli, I know you want to move Melek down, don't you?
I think the one in front of Melek is better than we're giving it.
This one?
No,
This one. You think this would be a C tier commander?
yeah. I think it might be better than we think it is.
I don't know, man. It's okay.
Like, it's not terrible. Like, you're definitely playing into the, you need to get, like, fast attacking in, kind of like the Boros playstyle, of, getting in there quick.
Like an aggressive,
Yeah,
aggressive, like a swarm or whatever.
Aggressive combat.
Let me think. Let me just think about that card for a second. I mean, if you find a way to make... So the thing that I think you could make a good deck with Adeliz is if you find a way to make, like, wizard tokens. Let me think.
The only one I can think of off the top of my
Yeah.
head is Docent of Perfection.
There might be another way, though, but... I mean, I'm willing to put it in C tier if you are, Eli. You gonna take a stand?
I don't feel that strong. I don't
Care?
know. Maybe it could be.
Here, maybe?
Yeah.
Man, this is like top heavy.
I'm just saying because she actually does something, whereas like the D tiers are kind of like dirtling.
How do you feel about this?
It hurts a little bit,
Yeah,
but yeah.
I think I like that.
And then
We don't need to order the F because they're F.
I think this is a good order for F.
Yeah.
All right, this looks like about what we've got for the Izzet commander tier list. This was a fun one to do. A lot more top heavy than I expected, honestly.
I think the thing to say too is Izzet has a lot in its toolbox between red and blue. You really have blue has a ton of control, card advantage. Red, being very aggressive and just having some chaotic effects into it.
Yeah, red's got Jessica's Will, so that's going to make all the combo decks that much better.
Yeah,
That card's broken as hell.
So I think the showing that the toolbox of Izzet shows that they have strong cards to them, so they have strong commanders to match those cards.
I've got a curiosity, if you will, no pun intended. I think actually the reason, now this is a hot take, but I think the reason that this is so top heavy is actually because the way the tier list should really look is S tier here, A tier here, B tier here, and then C tier is there's like C is actually a D tier, and then D and F are like the same tier. How does that make you feel? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's just no one in C tier, and then this seems like a huge divide for me, like between these cards and these cards.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like the drop off is really steep.
Yeah.
How would you feel about doing this?
I wouldn't hate it.
And then doing this.
Yeah. I think I can agree with that.
And then where do you want to stop?
Get fucking Nin out of there.
Do you want to stop here?
Sure.
Maybe. I don't know. This card sucks though. Whatever. It's fine.
Why are we keep?
Why are we done?
Why is Nin in C tier?
Because it's Nin.
It's not good.
What if we just make C tier have nothing? Would that be based? What if it's this? Does that make you happy, Eli? This makes me happy.
Sure.
Yeah. He doesn't care, so we just gonna do what we want. This is our podcast. This episode.
This is for the Izzet boys.
Yeah. All right.
Spencer and Eli, I really appreciate you guys inviting me on for an episode of not exactly the podcast, but a tier list episode.
Yeah.
So
thank you so much for coming on, Quinn. Really appreciate your input on this and for carrying the team through this.
Yeah. Follow Quinn on Twitter at SoullessMidwest. He's a Twitch streamer and a YouTuber, technically.
Yep. Soulless Midwest on most platforms. I don't usually go on like Instagram or shit like that, but yeah, I have been streaming for over the past year. I don't do any MTG content on my platform, but
Now you have one video of opening Magic cards, Quinn.
Oh, I did open a box of was it Modern Horizons?
Modern Horizons 1.
Yeah, you can find that on my YouTube channel. No, I'm just kidding.
Play like shooters and stuff, right? Like Tarkov?
Yeah, I'm mainly an FPS player. I've been delving into doing other stuff recently, but I'm really happy with what you guys have been doing, and I'm excited to see that you guys have stuck it out this long, because usually people want to make a YouTube channel. They make like 1 or 2 videos and they're like, all right, that's enough.
That's the burnout there, and then you stop.
Hey, we're rounding up on 100 subs within the next couple months, I'm feeling, so
I don't
I'm
want
83 right now.
I want to be like your dad figure, but I'm proud of you, son.
Thanks, Quinn. I appreciate that.
That means a lot.
I think we'll have a 100 sub special video. I got something planned, Eli, if you know what I'm thinking. I'll talk to you about that later. But we're gonna kiss Quinn on the lips is what we're gonna do.
Oh God,
no. I think that's about all we got here, guys. Right?
Yeah. Thank you everyone for watching this, and absolutely leave us a comment in the comments and tell us
Your list.
what you think about our ranking, and if we are wrong on anything, if you disagree or you agree. And yeah, follow us on Twitter at EDHTakes. Follow SoullessMidwest. Watch some of his streams. Yeah, and give us a like or subscribe too.
Yeah,
Much appreciated.
appreciate it, guys. See ya.
bye.
Bye.